Hello there. Indeed, it's a good morning. It's a Friday morning, and it's the 2nd of May 2025. So good morning to you, and welcome to our show. It's my show. It's your show, GA Today, here on GHOne Television. And here's where we always make sure that we give you a very good start to your day. I know the weekend is beckoning, it's knocking, and for some people, by 1 p.m., the weekend has started. And for others, we'll have to wait till 5. But indeed, the Lord has been good to us, and we welcome you aboard the show. We are live from our studios here at the Platinum Place, also live on Facebook, live on X, and live on YouTube, so that when you're leaving the house, you don't have to worry about losing content. You can follow us and take us along on your journey. I'm sure that by now, some of you are already awake. Others are also planning to leave the house. Maybe you're also setting off. But yes, I'm here to tell you that this is how you get the best start to your day, because we're going to inform you, we're going to educate you, we're going to entertain you, and also make sure that we put you in the right frame for work. And so this morning, there's so much to talk about. I mean, yesterday, I'm sure you might have seen the videos of President John Dramani Mahama. Some people say John Mahama is still campaigning. He's still enjoying the thrills of the campaign trail. But I mean, that's the beauty of Ghanaian politics. He says at a point he wanted to say, Mumma Mistia, no? And that's where he realized that he already had the steer. And so he does not have to ask for it. But I mean, yes, Black Star Experience launched here in the Crown. And we've seen all the beautiful things that, and I'm told, okay, we were all told, not just me, that when the runway hits in about July, we'll see President Mahama on the runway. I just can't wait to see the president doing some serious catwalk on the runway. But then there's also some serious stuff, including the statement that the police has released concerning the, I'm sure we showed you the concerns about the lady who was kidnapped. The police say they've been able to rescue 2, and then some 8 people have been arrested. And see, kudos to the Ghana Police Service. I mean, this is what we're calling for, to see some action being done. And so it's very exciting to hear and very refreshing to hear that one. And then the NPP also has its issues. I'm sure you remember we told you about the young man who was stabbed in Kumasi. Well, it's become an interesting trail because Dr. Baumia visited him, donated, here and there. Japan also visited, and then his camp released a statement that they've paid the full cost of the guy's hospitalization, as well as taking up his education, and then that of his siblings. So Kennedy Japan is supporting the siblings through school, including the young man who was stabbed. Dr. Baumia also was there. And so we've seen so much fallout from that. But that has not excluded the MPP from its chaotic nature of the thank you tour, because now you're told the national chairman has also pulled out. So if the chairman has pulled out, who is left on the thank you tour? And that's the interesting bit here. But there's so much to talk about, and that's why we are here. We'll be interspersing that with some very good conversations, easy conversations, and then because it's a Friday, I will have my colleagues also join me, talk about what is happening and all that has happened during the course of the week. Mind you, you'd also be a big part of the conversation, so I will invite you to also share your thoughts with me. Well, I am Joshua Kodjo Mensah, and this is GA Today here on GHOne Television. Let's bring you the quote of the day. And this morning's quote is from Helen Keller, says, "Never bend your head, always hold it high." The morning, but let's check out the word of the day. I'm excited.
Here is a recap of the words we brought you this week. Irreparable, gingerly, estranged,
Right, so that's a recap of the words we brought to you this week. I'm sure you were able to use some to improve your vocabulary and also in your communication with others. And Teacher Narain Abbas, thank you so much for that. But now let's bring you inside out. Last week, Thursday, there was a story that broke about a lady in the eastern region of Ghana who had been allegedly kidnapped. Now, the family said she went out to get supplies for her shop, only to realize that she did not return on Thursday. They didn't hear of her on Friday. And so the family now became very worried. And the family had to now resort to putting the matter out. And what compounded everything was the fact that her phone was used to send videos of her, the videos on your screens, with her tied, blindfolded, and then a ransom being demanded. And it got worse because the kidnapper sent another video, this time a very disturbing one, of this young woman, 39-year-old woman, completely stripped, and then blood stains all over, with she being blindfolded, and machetes were used in slapping the body, slapping her, while she was calling for help and urging her family to help raise that 500,000 ransom. And so the police released a statement earlier that they were looking into the matter, because at that point we were not too sure whether this was reality, maybe a clip from a movie to come, or maybe just some orchestrated things. So we just took sit and then wait to see what happens approach. Now, the good news is that the Ghana Police Service says it has been able to rescue not just this lady, but two. And so the statement on your screen, let me read the statement fully. Victims in viral kidnapping video rescued, 8 suspects arrested. The Ghana Police Service, with the support of the National Signals Bureau and the Nigeria Police Force, has rescued the 2 female victims of kidnapping captured on video, which went viral. Now, 8 suspects have so far been arrested in connection with the crime from their hideouts in Ghana and Nigeria. Now, further details will be shared in due course. The Ghana Police Service is immensely grateful to the NSB and all the other agencies that helped in arresting the 8 and making sure that the girl and the lady, I should say, and one other were rescued. And so we are excited. You know, when it started, the family said they have cause to believe that their daughter is not in Ghana, but had been shipped off to Nigeria by the kidnappers. And so the police, and I remember speaking to Adib Sani here, security analyst. He says that we should see some tactical intelligence-led operation which is not in the media domain. And for that, I salute the Ghana Police Service. This is the kind of thing that we want to see being done. And this is what would make us believe or have the assurance that indeed the police is working. I'm excited about this because not just the lady being rescued or the 2 ladies being rescued, we are seeing some proper collaboration among agencies, the National Signals Bureau, the Nigeria Police Force, the Ghana Police Service, coming together to ensure that we nip this in the bud. And I believe strongly that we should see some serious repercussions for these actions. You know, we sat here and had the conversation and said that if we do not make this unattractive, it will become another avenue for people to exploit here in Ghana. Because in Ghana, kidnapping is not rife, as in other countries or in some neighboring countries. But then, if we do not crack the whip so bad and make it so terrible for those who are caught in this act, we're likely to see a surge. And so I'm excited, and I'm waiting to get to see exactly how all of these pans out. So that is the update on this particular development that I am very, very excited about. And so shortly, we'll also be announcing the phone lines that you can also call me and let me know what's on your mind this morning. But this is what I want to focus on. The excitement this brings me, you have no idea. And the fact that, you see, there's been proper collaboration between our police force and then the Nigerian police force, bringing some finality to this matter. This is a very good and commendable action. Some say, well, this is a feather in the cap of the IGP for ensuring that we saw some swift action, because it's been, a week and a day, because she went missing last week Thursday. So yesterday was exactly a week, and today we are seeing the statement being released. So the phone lines are on your screens. You can call me and let me also know what do you make of this, and also all the things that have been trending this week in Ghana. And so please quickly call me, and then we would get your views or your take on the issues raging this morning. And so Ghana Police Service, thank you so much for this. Police say they are also working around the clock to get to the bottom of the matter. Yeah, so they would not rest until every single person involved in this is brought to book. We have our first call on the line there. Hello there, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Good morning. I'm called Roger from Mampong.
Okay. Roger, what's on your mind?
Oh, we thank the Ghana police very much. What they did is very good. But we want...
Roger, I can hear you. Well, we've just lost Roger there. We have another call on the line. Hello there. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Yeah. Good morning, my brother. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing too?
Oh, by the grace of Allah. My name is Abu calling from Western Region, Secondary.
Right. Abu, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't see clear what is really happening in your screen right now.
Okay, so it's the second video. We cannot show the video because it's of the lady completely naked, and we cannot show that. Yes, but that's what the videos the kidnapper sent.
Is the individual who do this?
I can hear you there.
Hello? I said, is the policeman, is the police who are doing it, the individual person?
No. So Abu, the thing is that some people, some young men believed to be from Nigeria, kidnapped a lady from Ghana, and we are told took her to Nigeria, and the police has rescued the lady.
Oh, thank you very much. Then, may Allah praise them. And my concern this morning, hello?
Yes, I can hear you, Abu.
Yeah. My concern to me this morning to say hi to Mr. President. Well done. And then my concern about this energy crisis. I think that you people, the media, have to let the Ghanaian know the position of the UCD right now. I think President Mahama hand over UCD solid, sound, and the profit to President Nana-Addo 2017, January 7th. And then how much Nana-Addo hand over UCD to the President Mahama January 7th, 2025. How much is the debt? How much is how is the problem? So you, the media, have to educate the Ghana so that we will find a way out. And then arrest those people responsible. Mismanagement the state institutions. You see, this is an issue you, the media, have to highlight.
Right.
You see, anybody they put in somewhere to handle this management, like your studio, your station, the head, if you refuse to manage it, I don't think you'll be sitting there working again, taking a salary.
Okay.
So we allow them to take property, so let's go free. They'll come and chop the money and enjoy. As I'm speaking on, they have a generator in their houses. When the power of they'll put on a generator, we and you are going to suffer.
Right.
So I appeal to the president to take decisive decisions to prosecute those head of the UCG, those from past 8 years. The Director General, the MDs, all the people, the procurement officers, everything. Please, we are suffering.
Okay.
Your Excellency, please.
Right. Abu, thank you.
Yeah, we'll support you. Any decision you take, and the Chief Justice have to go to.
Okay.
No, don't laugh. We are serious. We see her judgment on so far within the parliament. You know, it's a political figure.
Right. Abu, thank you. We know that ECG owes about 60 billion in terms of the energy sector debt, out of the 80 that is owed in the energy sector. Well, let's get another caller on the line. Hello there. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Hello, good morning. Please, my name is Isaac, calling from Ashaiman.
Isaac, how is Ashaiman this morning?
Ashaiman is okay. As you already know, it's a business center, so everyone has been busy doing it or a business.
Right.
As you can see. Yeah.
Talk to me. What's on your mind?
Actually, I want to applaud Ghana Police for what they have done. Indeed, they've really done a good job. But my only problem is I would plead on the government to focus much on our borders.
Okay.
If they were able to take this lady from the eastern region through to Volta and were able to cross the borders of our land without asking any question, I think there's a problem. So I plead with government to be able to do it, to work on our borders for us. It's very much important.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Isaac, sharing your thoughts with us. Yes, it was quite disturbing getting to know that this had happened, but we are thankful now. Well, we have a next call on the line. Hello there, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Hello, my name is Abakar Burhano, calling from Panda.
Okay. What's on your mind this morning, my brother?
You send the IGP very well for the good work you have done for Ghana. And also, I want to Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
I want to speak about the energy sector.
Right.
We beg the ECB. Please, the minister and the president should do well. All those who are there, from the top down to the top, they sack all of them and bring in new ones because they don't want to help the government, the incoming government, or the new government. Because they are sabotaging the government, the President Mahama, they are sabotaging President Mahama.
That's what you believe is happening? That's what you believe is happening there? They are sabotaging the president?
Yes, they are sabotaging the president.
Right.
Why is it that the past president, the light is on and the new one comes and the light is off and on. So they are sabotaging first of all, they even said it that when President Mahama comes, the light will go off again, Judicial will come back again, and it has happened.
Right.
So we are begging the president to stop all of them and bring in new ones. They are not the only ones who know that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling. Well, I think I have time more for one more call, and then we'll wrap up the show, this aspect of the show. Hello there. Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you doing too?
I'm also good.
Right. So, why are you calling me from this morning? Right. And how is the place looking like today? Hello? Unfortunately, I lost my caller there. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling. And Ghana Police Service, IECO, you've done a yeoman's job in collaboration with the NSB and then the Nigerian Police Force. And we would like to see how this particular matter progresses. All those culpable, please deal with them. Make the venture very unattractive for the youth. And that's it for Inside Out this morning. Right, so yes, we championed it here. I remember when we were doing this particular story, everybody was afraid to do it because they felt, oh, Charlie, this was staged, But here we are, and thankfully, we've achieved some results after a little pressure on the Ghana Police Service to push and then get some work done on this particular issue. So yes, that's why I keep telling you, the best way to wake up is by tuning into GH today. And there's a matter that has been raging. GBA, on the Chief Justice. Mutala Yunusa is here with Court today. So much for sticking and staying with us. Mutala Yunusa. Charlie, it's been a roller coaster this week in terms of the CJ and matters arising.
The High Court, the Court of Appeal.
Everywhere has been busy. You have people who don't like us now. That's what happens. But
those who have their feet on the ground, they will soon remove it.
But I mean, it's been hectic.
Yeah,
I mean, GBA or CJ, we in the Supreme Court for the man in the Eastern region, the MP who is embattled as he stands now. So much happening.
It's been busy. Actually, it's been busy in so many aspects. But of course, the focus this week has been at the Supreme Court, the Apex Court, and its related happenings, starting from when we get information that the president has suspended the Lady Chief Justice based on some petitions that has been received, and the subsequent establishment of a prima facie and all of that. So now, when you come to the Supreme Court, people are asking, how many justices do we have at the Supreme Court and all of that. So this morning we want to help you with some understanding of what is happening within the judiciary and the number of judges that we have and how they got to the Supreme Court and all of that. So if you look at the list, and out of the list you see 14, but by the time I'm done with you, you realize that the number will reduce. Yes, the number will reduce, and I'll tell you why the number will reduce.
Certainly.
So on the list of the justices that you have, number 1 is the Lady Chief Justice, Justice Gertrude Saki Tokonu. And the reason Justice Tokonu is number 1 on the list is by dint of the fact that she is the Chief Justice.
Right.
But she isn't the most senior on the Supreme Court bench. But automatically, once you become the Chief Justice, you are the most, you are the administrative head of the judiciary. So Justice Tokonu was appointed in 2019 by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Then number 2 on your list, in fact, the number 2 is the most senior on the Supreme Court bench, actually. But he is number 2 because of the fact that the Chief Justice is Justice Gertrude Saki Tokonu. And he was appointed in 2018 by...
2008, you mean?
2008.
Yes.
By GHOne Ajekun Kufuor. Number 3 is Justice Gabriel Puaman, who was appointed by John Dramani Mahama in 2015. Avril Lovelace Johnson, 2019, by Nana Addo. Isifu Umoru Tanko Amadu, also by Nana Addo. Henrietta Joy Abena Nyakon Mensah Bonzo Nana Addo in 2020. So Tanko, Professor Mensah Bonso, Emmanuel Yone Kolendi were all appointed in 2020 by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Then in 2022, we had Samuel Esiedu, Justice Samuel Esiedu, and Barbara Akayenzu. And pay attention to number 9, Barbara Akayenzu. I'll come back and tell you something. All of them were appointed in 2022. Then Justice George Kingsley Kumsin, Justice Ernest Gau, they were appointed in 2023. Then the last batch that were appointed the last year, absolutely. Justice Anthony Henry Kofi, and he is the president of the Association of Magistrates and Judges in Ghana. And we have Justice Yadakwa Sari and Justice Richard Ejie Frimpong. So the Supreme Court as it is now, you see 14 of them. Okay, now the Lady Chief Justice, Director, please go back. The Lady Chief Justice has been suspended. So as it stands now, we have 13. But that is not all. The number is still reducing. Number 9, Justice Barbara Frances Akayensu has retired.
Right.
She attained 70 in February 2nd, 2025. So as we speak, Supreme Court justices, we see 14, but it is 13, and the CJ has been suspended, so now it is 12.
Right.
Then, the day before yesterday, Director, let's go. We have a communique from the Judiciary, and that communique is to the effect that some 7 justices of the Court of Appeal have been nominated for elevation onto the Supreme Court bench. And who are these justices? When you see the list there, it doesn't give you the chronology in terms of seniority. Because Justice Sen Jamfe is the most senior at the Court of Appeal, and the president of the Court of Appeal judges. But by way of this list, nominated by the president, they have to go through some processes, eventually land in Parliament, they will be vetted, and the decision will be taken. So Justice Sir Dennis Dominic Ejie, this is a name that sounds like when you are mentioning, you have to be very careful because the D's are many.
Sir Dennis
And absolutely, Dennis Dominic Ejie.
Yes.
And in fact, I've never seen any lawyer who have never mentioned him, who have never come across him. He's developed a lot of books for the judiciary, and his books are all over. Lawyers, students, everybody is using. So he's a known person within the judiciary. He has been nominated. Many people think that it's been long overdue. Justice Gibiel Simon Subare, another person who has also been at the Court of Appeal for so many years. Then Justice Senyor Jamefe, I told you about the father, is the president of all the Court of Appeal judges in Ghana and most Supreme Court judges. We have one who was retired in the person of Justice Barbara Akayensu, and then the CJ, as we speak or we know, has been suspended. So we have 12 justices at the Supreme Court currently, and 7 more has been nominated. When approved, they will go to the Supreme Court. So that is in relation to the latest happening within the judiciary. But in relation to that, the minority yesterday had a presser, and they made the point that they are going to demonstrate. They are also making some wild allegation about the fact that the NDC is speaking to judges to give out the CJ. Let's hear from the minority leader, Alexander Fenyomaki.
Our respected judges. Some of them, I am aware, we are aware, that are being promised by the NDC government. Today, it is Tokonu. Tomorrow, it may be them. They should listen and listen well. I want all judges in the country to know that their institution is under attack. The NDC government is approaching you, the judges, telling you that, oh, Tokonu does not have a good interpersonal relationship. She is snobbish, she is this, she is that. But I want you to know that if they allow them to use you today, tomorrow they will come after you. Act collective. It is your institution which is under attack. Our demonstration on Monday is not about our party or parties. It's about protecting the institutional integrity of our republic. It's about drawing a line in defense of the Constitution. And it's about telling those in power, you may have your term, but you do not own the state. Thank you. The framers of our Constitution understood that democracy without an independent judiciary is no democracy at all. That is why we are gathering on Monday, 5th of May, to say enough is enough. To say that the people of Ghana will not sit idly by while their courts are captured. To say that the power may change hands, but the Constitution must always stand.
Alexander Afenyomaki.
And interestingly, those are 3 lawyers.
That is the beauty of the democracy that we practice. Right. So they have firm ideas of how the law works and all of that. But the minority leader is making an allegation that he is aware and they know that judges are being spoken to. How did he become aware?
You and I.
Because he's the leader. Okay. So these are things that we will continue to monitor. But the point is that they have a demonstration coming up on Monday. They will hit the judiciary, they will hit parliament. Of course, I understand that they will also hit the presidency and all of that. But away from this one, the Attorney General has also been in the news for the last few hours or 2 days or so. Yeah. And one of the things that he's been speaking to, which we have reported on it extensively, is the issue with A+. That issue has come up. He's giving his side of the story.
Kwame Asare-Obieng.
And Kwame Asare-Obieng. And it's getting very interesting there. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But the AG is saying that he's daring him. If he has any information, they should organize a presser like he did and then let it out. You notice I asked him about the fact that in the National Service Standard, he made a point about an MP. He said A+. He said when we meet A+, we should ask him that question and all of that. So any opportunity that we have to meet A+, we will ask him about all of that. That we have dealt with it extensively. But there's also an issue about the Sky Train that he touched on, but we have not actually paid attention to that. Let's hear from the learned Attorney General on the latest of the Sky Train matter.
In respect of the Sky Train matter, we have completed investigations and will be filing charges hopefully next week. We have established that $2 million United States of American dollars was paid by the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund without board approval. The only persons who knew and acted on the payment were the former CEO, Mr. Solomon Asamoah, and the former board chairman, Professor Ameyaw Ekunfi. Both will be charged next week. The docket is ready. We know the charges we are filing against them, so they will be charged next week. Some of the board members have offered to testify as witnesses for the prosecution, and I am considering their office.
So that's Dr. Dominic.
Yes. So
Attorney General.
Yes, he makes the point that somebody is saying you're Attorney General, so it's our Attorney General, it's Attorney General for the Republic and all of that. So one of the things that he's saying is that the SkyTrain matter. So this month, certainly this week or next week, we'll see charges being filed at the court. He didn't end there. The issue about the National Service scandal is also pending at the National Cathedral. He has some updates on that as well.
Now, the investigation in the National Service ghost names scandal has also progressed well, and we'll be filing charges against some of the persons involved from the first week of May, also, in a few days' time. Other matters such as National Cathedral, mathematical sets, senior high school Wi-Fi are also nearing completion, and dockets are being prepared for prosecutions to begin.
That is the Attorney General.
For those who are asking when, he says relax.
So he's providing some updates on those issues as well and all of that. But there's one answer, the Kwabena Duboah's case. on Wednesday, he was in court. Yesterday was a holiday. So that was a moment I realized that the background looked a bit darker. So it means that it was late in the day on a Wednesday when Kwabena Duboah, the wife, Angela J. Boatin, and Mildred Donko and the company were charged with 11 counts. In fact, they pleaded not guilty. The court, AG opposed to the grant of bail for Duboah.
That's Kwabena Duboah.
That's Kwabena Duboah on your screen when he was leaving the premises of the court moments after the court adjourned the matter to today. In fact,
but his counsel, Atachia, is not dressed for court, is he?
Yes, so there was a reason he was not. So if that became an issue even in court, make the point that they were ambushed into court. So that is how come they were not properly dressed. But the AG also made the point that yes, they had the charges as far back as last week on Monday. And so they were aware that their client was going to be charged or arraigned in court. So he makes the point that yes, but the court said, as it stands now, let's take the plea of the accused persons. If there's anything, it will be dealt with subsequently. The court, the AG opposed the grant of bail to Kwabena Duboah. One of the things that he made mention was the fact that it was a flight risk and it's been interfering with witnesses because surveillance has shown. Lawyers of the accused person or the defense lawyers led by Samuel Atachian opposed to that and said, no, that is not the situation. So the court said, if that is the situation, I am going to allow the suspect or the accused person to be on their previous bail conditions. You notice that the High Court reduced or varied the bail conditions that were granted them earlier by Yoko. The court said, be on it until today. Today, they want the Attorney General to come and show by way of documentation why or the premise to support the point that Kwabena Duboah is interfering with witnesses. So today, and in fact it will be dealt with in chambers, the court will make that point, and then the parties will meet the judge in chambers, argue their case out. They will know whether he in particular, because the others, the AG said it doesn't oppose to the grant of bail. So the court will now deal with him. If the court agrees that there's nothing that warrant that he be held in custody, then the bail will continue. But if the court thinks otherwise, then it means that the bail will have issues. They will have to remand him and all of that. But people will think, is that all? The Attorney General has been saying that there's another scandal in which he's involved. Let's hear from the AG.
Our diligent investigation team came across yet another scheme hatched by Mr. Duboah, this time involving Ghana Water Company Limited. This criminal enterprise involved the purported provision of secured internet services to Ghana Water Company Limited by the erstwhile Bureau of National Communications, now National Signals Bureau. The contract document showed that Ghana Water was to pay BNC, that is the national BNC, the sum of 650,000 Ghana cedis every 2 weeks for secure internet services from BNC, that is the Bureau of National Communications. However, for purposes of the payment, Kobina Edugwahin provided the account details of his company, BNC Communications Bureau Limited, to Ghana Water, which religiously paid for the internet services. In other words, every 2 weeks when 650,000 Ghana cedis of money from Ghana Water left the bank accounts of Ghana Water, instead of going to the National Signals Bureau account, it went to the account of a company known as Bureau of National Communications, owned by Kobina Edugwahin and his wife.
Right.
So
Ghana Water scandal.
Yes. So Kobina Edugwahin, for those who are thinking that it's only the National Signals Bureau case that is involved, the AG is making another claim that Ghana Water Company is smarter, and this one, the sum involved is much more higher than what we have already seen. And in the coming days, the AG makes the point that charges will be preferred against him. But back to what happened in court the last time, we've been engaging attaching counsel for Edugwahin, and he said, like, look, the AG doesn't have anything to show. Let's hear him.
For the Attorney General to show whether there are any residual investigations to be done, because he's insisting that Abner Edugwahin should be remanded.
Because they have some surveillance that shows that he's trying to interfere with investigations.
That is, he says so. That is, he says so.
You don't believe that?
At all.
So Samuel Atachan said he doesn't believe that the AG has any surveillance to show that his client is interfering with witnesses. So today, this morning, they are in court, but they will meet the judge in chambers. We'll be around to nose around and see what will become of whether Edugwahin's bail will be as it is or the court will revise it and all of that. And also coming up is in relation to the Oyarifa $2.1 million cocaine matter. Yes. The last court sitting I indicate that Uche Chukwu Chima was slapped with fresh charges. He was remanded. Today, his lawyers have indicated that they are filing official bail application, formal bail application for the prosecution or for the court to grant the accused person bail. We'll be there to monitor whatever will happen, and I will update you on all of that. So this is all we have by way of court today, this morning.
Mutala, thank you. Thank you so much for giving us the updates on all the court matters. We'll now check out the papers right after this. This morning says, tackling mismanagement at workplaces. Speak up, protect your institutions. Mahama urges workers at May Day parade. There is also nation space system exploitative. TUC calls out wage injustice. And it comes to the picture of Joshua Ansah, the Secretary General of the Trade Union Congress. There's also Council of State advice must be binding according to the IEA. And that's the Daily Graphic this morning. The Daily Guide says AG charges Edugwahin wife over 49.1 million cedi theft. And Mahama rules out ECG privatization. He says that he can beat his chest and tell us that is not going to happen under his presidency. Johnny Walker unveils new annual Ghana Golf Championship. Former Clark goes home. Ayine A+ clash over mudslinging. Ken in team withdraw from MPP thank you tour on the front page of the Daily Guide newspaper. The Ghanaian Times says will restore hope in workers. That's according to President Mahama at the May Day parade. There's also we demand complete overhaul of wage structure. TUC speaking there. GHOne, former Ghanaian Times editor, 23 others for contribution to media freedom. Boko mediation puts on hold. 500,000 youth apprenticeship program takes off. All captured on the front page of the Ghanaian Times. The Chronicle says Ayine is mad over A+ sleaze accusation, ready for showdown with entertainer turned politician. Pedu Junction cocaine suspects plead not guilty in court. Use threat of dismissal as a tool to fight Galamsey. This is according to the Methodist Church. And Proverbs chapter 3 verse 30 is the scripture for this morning. Do not contend with a man for no reason when he has done you no harm. Do not contend with a man for no reason when he has done you no harm. That's the scripture for the Chronicle newspaper this morning. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 30. So if I've not done anything to you, don't contend with me. Let's check out the next paper. And the Daily Statement says political parties demand reinstatement of Chief Justice, and the planned protest is on the 5th of May. Akufo-Addo rallies MPP for 2028 comeback. Zoomlion defense role in YA contract, and Mahama's actions threaten rule of law and stability. The Daily Searchlight says 5 killed in shooting drama in Eastern Region over son winning. Very, very unfortunate there. Terminating or transferring heads of public institutions unlawful. That's according to ClogSAG. We will reposition NIB towards rapid industrialization, according to the managing director of the company. Retired UK-based investment banker launches education fund, and government thinking of public-private collaboration for ECG. That's according to President Mahama. The Informer says, I'm ready for your gutter politics. AG Darren A+ also has the story on Zoomlion, and a lawyer rejecting Mahama's Supreme Court nominations, insisting that Ghana does not need bloated Supreme Court. Decent wages and jobs are my focus, that's according to President Mahama. Thank you, Tor, also captured on the front page of the Informer. Daily Post, ECG will not be privatized. Mahama assures organized labor. Cocoa Board is also probing some $263 million cocoa rehabilitation loan disbursement. And President John Mahama has launched the National Apprenticeship Program with 300 million CDs. The Ghanaian Publisher, banner headline, UPSA tax dialogue. Experts praise SML Ghana's risk-reward model. And our hands are clean. That's according to the chairman of the GHOne Group in the YA contract. And TUC to government, ensure living wages, reinstate unfairly dismissed workers, and current processes for removing CJ unfair. That's according to Sophia Ekufo. So we're done fast. So that's what the papers are saying this morning, but let's check out what is happening in the world of sports.
Incident, and a lot of people have been talking about that if it should have been a red card, well, it went on, and then the penalty was given a United score. Then the third goal came in from Bruno Fernandes in there. A lot of people are praising Harry Maguire because Maguire has shown us that Charlie, he's not just a defender. 2 weeks ago, he was a goal scorer, and then now he's a winger. So a lot of people are praising Harry Maguire and actually calling him Harry Dino. Yes, Harry Dino on the wings for Manchester United. So congratulations to United getting that 3-0 win. Chelsea also got a win yesterday in the Conference League 4-1 win. Now, let's move on to the Serie A. Let's talk Italian Serie A and start off with the table. I want to show you the table of the Italian Serie A. Good. Now, when you see how the table looks like right about now, the top 2 teams actually gunning in for the Scudetto, and you can see that Napoli have 74 points, and then Inter are second with 71 points. So 3 points is the difference between these two sides. Last week, Inter were actually on top of the table. They lost at home to Roma. Then we saw Napoli go up of the table. Then it means that coming up this weekend, let's get to see the fixtures coming up this weekend in the Italian Serie A. You would actually see that any team that drops points, good. Napoli are going to play against Lecce, and then Inter face Verona. So 2 teams gunning in for the Italian Serie A. How does it end? Would it be Inter Milan or Napoli? We'll get to see how that goes. Let's come back to Ghana and do the Ghana Premier League, because Hearts of Oak face Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Joshua, which club is the biggest club in Ghana?
Well, for me, it's Hearts of Oak.
It's Hearts of Oak.
Yes.
Okay.
Arus.
Be quiet, don't be silly. All right, so this Sunday at the Accra Sports Stadium, Kumasi Asante Kotoko, who are in contention for the Ghana Premier League title, up against Accra of Oak. Now, both teams have played 115 matches, and then 38 of them have ended in wins for Accra of Oak. 39 have ended in wins for Kumasi Asante Kotoko, and then 38 have ended in draws there. Hearts of Oak are set on the Ghana Premier League table. They do have 45 points, and then Kumasi Asante Kotoko are fourth with 50 points. Now let's look at the final push, the top four of the Ghana Premier League table, because it is getting interesting. The likes of Nations FC, the likes of Bibiani Gold Stars, and then of course Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Pando Heart of Lions can all win the Ghana Premier League this season. So Bibiani Gold Stars are on top. They have 53, and the Nations are second with 51. Hearts of Lions are third with 50. And then Ukumapem Apembeba, Kumasi Asante Kotoko are fourth with 50 there. So here are the fixtures for the 4 teams, and then it's looking very good for Sotramind FC. Now, here is the fixtures for the weekend. Tonight, Midiama would face Vision FC at the TNA Stadium at 6 p.m. Hearts of Oak, as I said, take on Kotoko at the Accra Sports Stadium. And then Nations play Accra Lions Bechem, face Legon Cities Aduana, take on Brekum Chelsea. Hearts of Lions would play Samatex, and Young Apostles would face Basake Holy Stars. Bibiani Gold Stars on top of the table, and they take on Karela United. Let's end up with the U20 AFCON, because Ghana would be in action tonight, yes, in Egypt, and they are going to take on DR Congo at exactly 6 p.m. So Coach Desmond Ofe has selected a final squad for the tournament, and then they will be in action tonight at 6 p.m. We wish them all the best. There's a lot that will be happening this weekend. I will bring you all the updates on Monday on the Sports Chat. My name is Jones, ADZI, and we're outside.
Yes, he's outside. It's a Friday, so you also got to be outside. And we'll now bring you this end Sports Chat. Let's now get into the session where we have a conversation on the raging issues in the country. We'll be right back.
We have completed investigations and will be filing charges hopefully next week. We have established that $2 million United States of American dollars was paid by the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund without board approval. The only persons who knew and acted on the payment were the former CEO, Mr. Solomon Asamoah, and the former board chairman, Professor Ameyaw Ekunfi. Both will be charged next week. The docket is ready. We know the charges we are filing against them, so they will be charged next week. Some of the board members have offered to testify as witnesses for the prosecution, and I am considering their offers. Our diligent investigation team came across yet another scheme hatched by Mr. Edubohin, this time involving Ghana Water Company Limited. This criminal enterprise involved the purported provision of secured internet services to Ghana Water Company Limited by the erstwhile Bureau of National Communications, now National Signals Bureau. The contract document showed that Ghana Water was to pay BNC, that is the national BNC, the sum of 650,000 Ghana cedis every 2 weeks for secured internet services from BNC, that is the Bureau of National Communications. However, for purposes of the payment, Kobina Edubohin provided the account details of his company, BNC Communications Bureau Limited, to Ghana Water, which religiously paid for the internet services. In other words, every 2 weeks when 650,000 Ghana cedis of money from Ghana Water left the bank accounts of Ghana Water. Instead of going to the National Signals Bureau account, it went to the account of a company known as Bureau of National Communications, owned by Kobina Edubohin and his wife. Now, the investigation in the National Service Ghost Names scandal has also progressed well, and we'll be filing charges against some of the persons involved from the first week of May, also, in a few days' time. Other matters such as National Cathedral, mathematical sets, senior high school Wi-Fi are also nearing completion, and dockets are being prepared for prosecutions to begin. Our diligent investigation team came across yet another scheme hatched by Mr. Edubohin, this time involving Ghana Water Company Limited. This criminal enterprise involved the purported provision of secured internet services to Ghana Water Company Limited by the erstwhile Bureau of National Communications, now National Signals Bureau. The contract document showed that Ghana Water was to pay BNC, that is the national BNC, the sum of 650,000 Ghana cedis every 2 weeks for secured internet services from BNC, that is the Bureau of National Communications. However, for purposes of the payment, Kobina Edubohin provided the account details of his company, BNC Communications Bureau Limited, to Ghana Water, which religiously paid for the internet services. In other words, every 2 weeks when 650,000 Ghana cedis of money from Ghana Water left the bank accounts of Ghana Water. Instead of going to the National Signals Bureau account, it went to the account of a company known as Bureau of National Communications, owned by Kobina Edubohin and his wife.
That's the Attorney General, and we are going to zoom into the breakfast review segments now, where we're going to have conversations based on this and a myriad of issues. And to join me have that conversation, I have Wilberforce Asare, political editor of Asase Radio, Kenneth J. Crunchy, he's the managing news editor of the Daily Searchlight newspaper, and then my own boss, Ibrahim Al-Hassan, I can't begin to say all the things he does. He's the head of the EIB political desk. He's the producer of the morning show on TV and radio, and a lot. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to see you too. I mean, it's been a while being here. But then, I mean, it's been a week of a lot. So much. It's like it starts on Monday. By the time you're trying to get a grip of it on Tuesday, something different happens. Then Wednesday kicks in, and so much to do. But let me start with you, Ibrahim. Especially with Dr. Dominic Ayine. Some have had cause to criticize the manner in which he has decided to update the media. He says, well, he wants to operate an open policy where Ghanaians know that the Attorney General's Department is not sleeping on cases.
This is a novelty. Not had an AG do this before, so I can understand that this is where there is constant updates about investigations and then prosecutions. Now, the latest updates would have come as a surprise to me if there was no earlier one, because they say that where you tie the animal to the tree, that's exactly where you want that. You can't come about specific cases and individuals, right? And now, after questions have been asked as to how far would those processes, you keep and just go.
Right. Ibrahim, I'll come back to you and then we'll have this conversation. You're still watching the review segments here on the breakfast review segments on GHOne television. We'll be right back after this break and then we'll zoom into the conversations proper.
And prominent among them was the National Signals Bureau investigations.
Right.
Now, if after that, and a lot of water had passed under the bridge, there were even accusations that those allegations were figment of people's imaginations, right? And those claims were fueled by the changes at Iyoko, with Raymond Acha being elevated.
Yes.
And the argument was that it was over Kwabena Edubuahen's case, and that Raymond Acha had misled the Attorney General. There were many claims that were made. Now, there were questions about why the AG had not gone to court, because the AG had indicated that he was proceeding to court. Again, Kwabena Edubuahen had gone to court with the wife to sue the AG for defamation within this space of time. And so it didn't come to me as a surprise that the AG found it necessary to come and once again update the public. And this time around, in fact, the charges were even filed at the court before the update. And so it's good. The defamation case will travel, same court. The AG will have his day in court to prove these allegations against these individuals. Instructively, he then gives us another update about transactions between the National Signals Bureau and Ghana Water Company.
Yeah.
What came to me as a surprise was a service that was going to be provided, the internet service for the activities or operations of Ghana Water Company Limited.
Right.
I felt that's a service that probably could have gone to a private internet service provider. But if government entities are able to do business, and those businesses will inure to the benefit of the country, why not? And so he says those charges will be filed differently and separately because you cannot marry the two. What was instructive from the engagement was that there are people who are willing to testify. See?
Board members.
Yes. And that could do with the SkyTrain as well, he had mentioned. That's $2 million. And he mentions the former board chairman, Professor Christopher Mia, and then also the former boss for MIF, the one in Senegal, who had indicated that he had not run away and that he was going to return. From what we gather, he has not returned yet, but nonetheless, next week, according to Dominic Ayeni, charges will be filed. See, I like the way the Attorney General is putting pressure on himself. I like it. It should be in the interest of all of us.
Right.
You have told us that you have watertight evidence. And fortunately, he didn't make that evidence available to us through the media, because that would have been wrong. That would have been wrong. The right quarters to make the evidence available will be at the court before a judge. You argue out your case, the defendant and their lawyers will equally attempt to punch holes into your case. At the end of the day, after it's all said and done, a judge will make a determination. If one party is aggrieved, you proceed to the next level through the appellate system. You can go till you end up at the Supreme Court. And you go till you can go no more. That's it. And that's the beauty of our justice. That's beautiful. If he's able to prove this before a court, that indeed there's a figment of the AG's imagination,
then that's it.
You are acquitted and discharged. So I think we should not split heads over this.
Right.
But he has started something. It's a novelty. We expect him to continue.
You expect him to continue?
The constant update.
Because people say that, well, we have a situation where this is not, like you said, it's a novelty.
Yeah.
And the dictates of law you don't play it out in the public domain like that. So you when you do that, you're rather subjecting yourself to public scrutiny and all of those things, which might not help your cause as an Attorney General.
Well, so there's a downside and there is the upside. Now, like I said, if the AG had argued his case before us, before the cameras, I've had an issue because we are not the judges. But mind you, I'll be very naive to think that justice delivery is just at the law courts. There is the justice in the eyes of the public.
The court of public opinion.
It matters a lot. And don't forget that the man is an Attorney General and Minister for Justice. You become a minister through a political appointment. So he's a politician. So I'm pragmatic and I'm a realist. And I know that it's not everything that the AG will speak that will be law. he will speak only law when he goes to the court. But when he's engaging the media, he won't speak only law because he's a political appointee. And we should know this. And so we are able to shape our emotions when we are dealing with this thing. Right. He won't stop. And I'm not sure any law court will stop him.
Right.
Right. But of course, over there too, and briefly on this, the back and forth between himself and A+.
Yes.
Okay, so A+ has since deleted his response to what Dominic Ayeni said. Dominic Ayeni earlier had mentioned that an MP had gone to those indicted in the National Service scandal to take money to kill the story ostensibly. Yes. How do you know that? You know that by paper trail. So A+, together with Mustafa Yusuf, Member of Parliament for Yagaba Kubori, had been released by Speaker of Parliament to be interrogated by national security operatives. Many of us felt the A+ element had to do with Ahmed Swale. It's now coming to fore that indeed it was still in relation to the NSS scandal because some payment had been tracked between some of the indicted and then A+. Then the AG told us that it was in relation to an attempt to kill the story. Immediately after that interrogation in Parliament, A+ went on social media to accuse the AG of corruption. The AG found a need to respond through his address, and he says, if A+ alleges that he took money for political campaigning, then all the 276 members of Parliament are thieves.
Because they all
for political campaign funding. A+ then comes back and says, this time around, the allegation is not about taking money for political campaign funding. He shifts the allegation to the fact that it was after the election that the AG went to take money to bribe the appointments committee, which he has since deleted. I would have wished that on this tangent, the two of them will have their day in court. And then whoever is able to clear himself, the person clears himself. But A+ must equally be explaining to us why he deleted the post. Is it that he doesn't believe in that session anymore?
Maybe he's keeping that for evidence sake.
Okay.
He doesn't want to put it out in the public.
That's good. So then they should have their day in court. I ordinarily wouldn't have wished that an AG, an active AG, a 7 AG, will be taking people to court at the private or personal level. I would not have wished that happens. But if it becomes necessary, why not? Mutala, our colleague, asked him that question. He says he's not ruling that out. But you can tell that it's not something that Aini is excited about. That's going to court to sue for defamation. But let's see. He says he has a dossier on A+. And in the coming week, he's actually going to announce charges or bring charges on the individuals indicted in the National Service scandal.
Right.
If A+'s name is in there, we will see how
that goes. Well, Uncle, let me bring you into the conversation now. The AG. I mean, you are a lawyer. Like IB said, we've not seen this public address by an attorney general. What do you first of all make of it, and then the details of what he talked about yesterday?
Well, first and foremost, let me greet our listeners and to thank you for this opportunity.
Right.
With regard to the press conferences he has been having, our work as lawyers is in court. So me sitting here is basically because of maybe I have a little legal knowledge, and it's because maybe I'm a journalist. But principally, our work, the work that we do, is supposed to be in court. If in other jurisdictions, the Attorney General or the attorney who will prosecute the case is an integral part of the investigative process. So he assists the police to guide the investigative process so that when it comes to prosecution, he has an in-depth knowledge on how to prosecute. Right. Our system here is a bit different. Here, the police agencies, the investigators gather everything. Then when they believe they have prima facie, they take it to the lawyers at the Attorney General Department to prosecute. Bringing it down to practical terms, if the NIB was a police station, they would conduct their investigation, have their charges ready, everything set, investigative caution statement and everything, witness statement, everything. Then they will proceed to the AG. Listening to the AG, it seems that there has been a shift in policy, in operations. He seems to be part of the investigations that is taking place now. He's now working hand in hand with the NIB, which has not been what has been occurring naturally, generally in our system. But it can be positive. I like that it can be positive, a positive thing. If I were him, I would reduce the talking. Okay, the fact that some people who were board members are going to be able to come forward, to come and act as witnesses for the state, whatever, that may still not be enough to ensure a conviction. Okay, and speaking here, I have had some exposure to that particular case, so I need to be very cautious now, because I have every faith in the innocence of Professor Ameya Kumfi.
On the Skype matter?
Yes. I believe absolutely that he is innocent and that we shall win our day in court. So, the antics of the AG, we are not impressed. It's not something that shakes us to any level. I think that if they want to convict, they had better do better work than what we are seeing so far. So my advice to him, if I were advising him, is to reduce the talking, be a man, be bold, and to go to court. And with regard to the other matter of him and A+,
yes,
I think this is the first time we have had an AG so early in his day, before he has been presented his first case in court, being caught in this type of allegation. And I think we in the media should investigate first and foremost when the money was paid. Was it paid before the election or after the election? It is very important because campaign funding, we take it before election. If it was after the election, particularly if it was within the administration of this government, then it was not campaign funding. It was possibly for some other purpose. Okay. And then the second thing is that he's the AG. And there are laws in this country to do with campaign financing and auditing and that type of thing. Has this type of contributions been reported to the electoral commissioner or to the electoral commission? These are questions that we need to raise as an organization. My problem really has to do with standards.
Okay.
Standards. If this were a nation where we had proper standards, okay, if this were a Western nation, he would not be AG now.
Why?
Oh, he would have resigned. That he received money to share among members of parliament to regard to appointments in government or the appointments committee. It's a big scandal. It is only in this, as I keep on saying, banana republic, we are shell-shocked from scandals. As a nation, we have had so many scandals over so many years that we have become shell-shocked. Do you know the meaning of shell-shocked? Shell-shocked is that, you know a shell, do you know what is a shell? Yeah. It's a bomb. Yeah. Okay? But at the height of wartime, when bombs drop, some people don't flinch. Okay. They become used to. Yeah. We become used to scandals. So you have an attorney general who is going about with trunks, collecting money, and sharing.
It's an allegation.
Yes. Against them. But it is enough. If this was happening in Canada, he would not be standing at the podium preaching to us.
Interesting.
Yes, if it happened in the UK, if it happened in Belgium, if it happened in Germany, he would not dare come and preach to us. He would go and immediately address that issue. Okay. He's a member of parliament making such a serious allegation against him. So what we should be interested in is the timing. When was that money paid?
Because there's not been a denial as to whether or not that money was paid. As of yet.
And
so the timing that
it is interesting. I also happen to be involved in a case where Dr. Sledge is on the periphery of that particular case. He's supposed to be in my corner, so I should be careful. I should be careful how I talk about Dr. Sledge. I've never met a gentleman, but apparently he's a very personable individual. But whatever the case may be, if the money was before, then it could have been campaign finance. If it was campaign finance, then you go to the trial commissioner, okay, and ask, all the funds Dominic Ayini received, has the NDC filed appropriate returns? It's been how many months now since the election?
1 or 4 months.
It's 4.
4 months. If you are past the quarter,
yes.
Have they declared all the necessary declarations to the electoral commissioner? He is the person who is standing up at the podium, say that you prosecute this, be fighting corruption. If he is not declared, then we are getting closer to corruption. If it was after the election, and particularly had to do with vetting of ministers and things, then that is a major scandal. He should, if I were him, I would immediately put down my post and go and address that particular issue.
Right. Now, you mentioned that, I mean, with the Professor Mayor Kumfi issue, you're a member, but you're not perturbed. But he says next week he's going to file charges.
Let him file. That is the job that he's supposed to do. In the press conferences, is not what he's supposed to do. His job is in court. Let him file the charges. If the gentleman will come, plead not guilty, and then we shall go into the merits of the case.
So you believe strongly in the innocence and know that
I believe Professor
that the AG charges puts there I
believe Professor Mia Kumfi is absolutely. Let us look at the charges, but I believe no charge. It's not guilty of any charge they can bring with regard to that particular matter. Yes.
Okay. Well, all of us, the AG has been busy. And I know you've been doing a lot of work in the courts. I mean, you understand the system. Some of us, we don't. But then, Ivy says it's under novelty. We've not seen this. And some people say it's good news because now the people of the country can relate to what the Attorney General is doing. So, oh yes, the Attorney General is actually working on this. This matter that party people thought, or the Ghanaians thought that perhaps had been just put swept under the rag. The AG is actually letting us know that there is work being done in that area, and that should excite all of us, shouldn't it?
Well, maybe. But I think that the current Attorney General is under pressure.
He's under pressure?
Yes. He is under pressure, which I don't know the source. Whether it is pressure coming from his boss, who is the president, or is pressure coming from party people, or is self-imposed pressure. It could be one of the three. But it is very obvious to me that he is under some form of pressure. But the little that I know, usually attorney generals, particularly when you are Minister of Justice and also the Attorney General of the Republic, you are appointed by a president, but you ultimately represent the interest of the people. The Attorney General's role is cut out in the 1992 Constitution. He is the Prosecutor General in Ghana, and he's supposed to be protecting the interest of ordinary Ghanaians and also the interest of the state,
yes,
through his prosecutorial powers and all that. So it is a very sensitive position, and sensitive positions that are mentioned in the Constitution, you always have to be careful how you operate. So if you are not necessarily mentioned in the Constitution, you are a creation. For example, Ministry of, let's say, Women and Children and Social Protection.
Gender.
It's not, it is not pronounced in the Constitution explicitly, but it is a creation of the government. For example, this president has created Minister for Youth Development.
Yes, Oparado.
Yes. Minister, I'm just trying to draw your attention to the fact that there are some positions, for example, the finance minister, it's mentioned.
Yes.
You must have somebody who's in charge of the exchequer, Attorney General, very important ministry. His role spelled out, Article 88 of the 1992 Constitution. So I'm only saying that it is an office that is sensitive. You deal with sensitive matters, and sometimes you have to proceed out of the abundance of caution.
Right.
You have to cross all the T's, dot all the I's. Sometimes when you even think that you have so much overwhelming evidence to incriminate somebody, you still have to pinch yourself and ask yourself the other questions. What if this? What if the person says this? What if the person comes to say? You have to ask yourself all those plenty questions before you get to the end of the matter, so that you know that when you go to court on this matter, I'll be able to prove beyond reasonable doubt. So I have a fundamental problem with the AG's approach to coming onto the media space to make announcements about either investigations he's doing or investigations he has done or investigations he intends to do. The AG's office and how sensitive that work is, it does not attract this level of public engagement when you are in the course of investigations. You know, in the Edubuahin case, he has filed charges.
Yes.
But after filing the charges, he made an argument in court that investigation is still ongoing, and he thinks that the accused person, the first accused person, should be remanded because of the ongoing investigations, he is likely to interfere with some existing witnesses.
Yes.
So because of that, rescind his bail, let's keep him in custody. Amazing. Amazing. Because for such a sensitive case, with such sensitive charges being preferred against somebody who occupied such a sensitive position, you want to have completed everything so that when you go to court with a charge sheet and a brief facts of the case, you know for sure that you have dotted all your I's and crossed all your T's. But after pressing charges, the person pleading not guilty, you say that you are still doing investigations, and so the court should take away the liberties of the person who, for all intents and purposes, is on a court bail. He's actually now living based on a court bail. A court gave him bail. And you have presented him before the same court, because the High Court is one in Ghana. You know, so it's a bit difficult for me, but Dr. Dominic Ayene has a doctorate degree in law. At least he is about 30 years at the bar, if I'm not mistaken. At least, not less than 30 years at the bar. I cannot come and sit on this television station and come and teach him law. I don't have, I'm not qualified.
Yes.
At all. I'm just worried about the way things are going. And I think that, quite frankly, I have seen at least a few attorney generals. I saw Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo when he was AG. I saw Ayikwe Utu. I saw, what's the name of Betty Modidisu? I saw Martin Amidu. I saw, is it Martin Odro? He was deputy. Ebo Martin Odro. I have seen Gloria. I think I also saw Joe Gatti.
Okay.
Gloria Kufu. I've seen Godfrey Daming. So I've seen quite a number of attorney generals. Dominic Ayene's approach is a quick and a sharp departure from what previous attorney generals have done. And the attorney generals I've mentioned are not attorney generals from only MPP. They are attorney generals from both sides. So, and even Brew, who was Marietta Brew-Opon, who was previously AG and Dominic was deputy. We saw her approach as well. So, like I said, I'm not qualified to advise him, but I think he should slow down.
Okay.
The AG office is quite sensitive. And some of these things that you are doing, some of these press conferences he has held and the things he has said, they are evidence for the defense team to go and cut and present to court. and say, oh, the AG, who is and again, he's the one who signed the charge sheet. It's the first time I'm seeing something like that because
usually it's the
previous
DPPs.
AGs is the DPP, the Director of Public Prosecution, who signs, or sometimes the chief state attorneys and all that. But this one, Dominic signed it himself, and he was in court late hour around 4 p.m. I didn't see the DPP in court. I didn't see any of those support.
He was there with his deputy.
Yeah, and so it's difficult. It's a departure from what, as a court correspondent, I have seen over the years, and not just under an MPP regime, but under both MPP and NDC regimes throughout the court processes. And so maybe he should slow down. Whoever is putting pressure on him, stop putting pressure.
He says it's the people of Ghana.
Yeah, but
we gave him a mandate.
Yeah, so maybe the people of Ghana.
That's the pressure he's under.
Yes, maybe the people of Ghana should just tell him that we gave you the money, but slow down because you are likely to make mistakes. Cattle are crossing, so hold on, please. Sometimes you have to just wait and let the cattle cross.
Yes.
Then you can continue the journey. But because I'm becoming worried. I'm becoming worried because when you do this, you end up making mistakes. And when you make mistakes, you will go and you will not be able to prove your case. And you see, the thing about it is that if you are the prosecutor and you send the case to court, and at the end of presenting your case, you and the defendant are at the same level, the court has no option but to rule for the defendant because you have not been able to make a cogent case against the defendant. So please, I think he should slow down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I wish we could move away from the courts, but we cannot because there's so much happening there. Now, the CJ, after the suspension, we've seen a lot of reactions. Ghana Bar Association, people have accused them that they've now found their voice. At first, they were sleeping. Now, they found their voice. And now, the earlier statements sought to say, you know what, let's allow the rule of law. Then, after their mid-year congress at Labadi Beach, we are hearing that they say, you know what the president did is totally wrong, and then it's unconstitutional. So the president should revoke the suspension. Ibrahim.
Well, before we get to the GBA and then the Chief Justice, I think relative to how Wilberforce ended, the AG and the deputy directly been involved. I think it speaks to the importance they attach to the very first case that they take to court. Governor Dami, whenever prominent cases were going to be attended to, when he was the Attorney General, he showed up. So you could tell the weight of the matters at court with the presence of Governor Dami when he was the Attorney General. So I'm sure it's the same. To be honest, I would have been disappointed if the very first case to be prosecuted by Dominic Aina as an Attorney General, he delegated. What message are you sending? So to me, I think it's actually a plus. And if moving forward, the Attorney General will approach this hands-on, like, okay, let me be directly involved. Why not? That's his work.
Okay.
So I was actually not delegation.
Let me make a comment.
Yes,
right. Make a comment there.
Okay, so Uncle Ken, then I'll come back.
There is the Attorney General, and then there is the trial lawyering. Trial lawyering is the lawyer who goes to court to try cases.
Okay.
In the Attorney General Department, there are lawyers there who are completely apolitical. They are not MPP, they are not NDC. But everybody at the bar agrees that this is a good trial lawyer. In such a case, what you want to have at the front is a good trial lawyer, not necessarily the Attorney General. Unless the Attorney General has better qualities than the trial lawyer.
But he raises the issue of Godfrey Dami also being in court.
No, I'm saying that if you want the best, then it's a team. The Attorney General has thousands of lawyers. It's the biggest chamber in Ghana. It's a chamber. So they are good trial lawyers. And what you do is that you put your best 11 on the field.
Right.
Sometimes the political head of the organization is not necessarily the most brilliant lawyer. He's just the political head. So he wants to show face, yes. Anyway, me, when it comes, I want
so the clarity that I wanted to bring is
right.
The Attorney General, for example, when Gloria Kufu was AG, anytime there was going to be the filing of a case, she will be in court together with the DPP a chief state attorney, and sometimes a senior state attorney, and most often than not, a state attorney. So you'll know that there's a team that has put together this charge sheet and are going to be prosecuting. On the first day, the AG will come and read the brief facts after the charges have been read against to the accused persons, and then their plea has been taken. The Attorney General will read the brief facts and then will now set down, because there's a process. After you have gone through this preliminary, the lawyers will ask for bail. The bail may be granted. If it's granted, whatever it is, and then the court will now give directions and say, we are going to have case management. Because of case management, we want you to serve all the documents that you are going to rely on, all the evidence on the accused. All those modalities will be done. Yeah. Then after that, it will be the responsibility of the prosecution, which is led by the Director of Public Prosecution, to prosecute the matter.
Right.
So the AG can decide to come or not to come. And that's because there are several prosecutions. How many prosecutions did this current AG discontinue against the certain persons since the government came to office? Over 10 of them. Can the AG be present? Some of the cases, they are happening the same day.
He can't be present.
He can't be present in all the courts.
That's what I said. The very
you get it.
one.
So it is you because you are the AG. You can be seen to be the one initiating, but there are always teams that are created for every. And it's not only prosecution. There's the Solicitor General. The Solicitor General is also taking care of civil matters. So it's a multifaceted thing. Right. And I'm only saying, I'm not actually faulting Dominic for being present in the court. I'm saying that from what I have seen, he should be present in the court prosecuting such a matter with the prosecution team. He and his Attorney General, he and his deputy cannot constitute the prosecution team for this matter. Not from the AG's department.
But to be fair, they're not the only ones there.
This lady's name became very prominent. Director of Public Prosecution. Obobisa. A very beautiful name. It's Obobisa that rings a bell whenever I hear it, right? Because obviously, what Obaforce is saying is a given that the AG cannot prosecute every case. And you cannot have a two-man team. Like, then what's the department doing? Why is it called a department? Before Dominic Ayeni and then Dr. Esrim Sai went there was still a department. And so, yes, like counsel is saying, there is a team.
Right.
And obviously, they all put their minds together, brains together, Giorgio, and then arrive at the finality. The Attorney General might take ill. The Deputy Attorney General might be indisposed. Does that mean that if there's a date in court, it should not be on it? So obviously, it's a team that will work. Okay. Now back to the Chief Justice and then the GBA. Okay, so here's the thing. And I've spoken to many people, some lawyers, stakeholders. I don't know whether Anglican was at that mini bar conference, but here's the thing. The statement that was issued on this matter, the suspension of the CJ or the petitions for removal of the Chief Justice, signed by Mrs. Efuagate and then her secretary. That was and will be the position of the leadership of the GBA. That's the position of the leadership of the Ghana Bar Association, because as at the time that statement was signed and released, there was no any other option of consulting the entire membership of the bar. So as the leadership of the bar, so elected and sworn in, who sat there, perused the matter at hand and said that the due process should be followed. People should stop leaking content of the petitions because, per the Constitution, everything regarding the process should not play out in the public domain. And then also caution that people should be cautious the way they comment on the process. That's the position of Madam Efuagate and then the entire leadership of the GBA. Subsequent to that, there was a they call it what? A mid-year conference. that was attended by about 200 members. And we are told that membership of the bar is over 5,000. Right. Now, 200 attended and registered. And then they decided to table a number of resolutions, a number of them.
Yes.
On Galamsey, on Ablekumanov, on Boko, on Galamsey, and many others. And then it so happened that there was another resolution on the same matter that leadership of GBA had spoken.
Earlier.
47 of them voted for this particular resolution. The resolution is that, first of all, the president acted wrongly per the constitution. 1. 2, they demanded that the president makes public the basis upon which he decided to set up the committee, and then also suspend the Chief Justice. You know what the GBA per that aspect of the resolution wanted the president to do? To flout the provisions of the Constitution. Because I just told you that the provisions of the Constitution stipulate that everything surrounding the removal of the Chief Justice must be done in secret. It must be done in camera. But then, for some strange reason, lawyers, 47 of them, met, read everything aspect of the Constitution after accusing the president of engaging in an unconstitutional act. Decided to ask the president to make the prima facie public. And then probably they will come back and accuse the president again of flouting the provisions of the Constitution. So that was contradictory for me as a layman. As a layman. Because I'm not sure it's every provision that when you read, unlike the Bible, that we told that it's not the words as you read that will convey the meaning. There's more to the words of the Bible than just the letters put together as words.
There's the Rima.
Exactly.
And then there's the logos.
So me, as a Muslim, if I give you a Bible quotation, I might just be reading the words to you.
The logos.
Exactly. But I will need the Spirit to help me with the understanding, right? For the Constitution, sometimes, even though they say the Spirit and the letter, it's the English and it's the grammar. When they want to say Shah, they will put Shah there. When they want to say me, they will put me there. When they want to say my, they will put mine there, right? Now, the last time we were here, there were arguments about the warrant and as to whether the president needed to go to parliament through a constitutional instrument before deciding to suspend the Chief Justice and what have you. The argument has come up as well forcefully. But on this, I think the 47 members of the bar have made the work of the current leadership of the bar very difficult moving forward. Because they wouldn't know what statement, what position they would take today. And then the next day, when they go for a meeting and there are about 20 lawyers, they will disagree, pass a resolution, and then that is it. You get the point I'm making?
Exactly.
Yes. And unfortunately for Madam Efuagati, and I've sat on radio and defended her on countless occasions on this matter, because people are then pulling out virtually everything, who her husband is and which platform she was on. That is so unnecessary, because on this matter, her position was the one that she issued a statement on. It's basic and it's simple. There's division in the bar. In fact, if you speak to lawyers, you have no idea.
I've had conversations with lawyers as well, and then the position is like, are they really serious?
That's the point.
What were they thinking?
So this could have been avoided.
Okay.
This could have been avoided. By the 202 who were there, why did they leave? Because if we had an overwhelming majority voting no, I'm not sure the bar would have been subjected to this level of attention. Right. Or was this resolution smuggled in there? Was there no agenda for the media conference? Was there no agenda? You get the point I'm making? So unless you want to tell me that a few people, the 47, decided to just smuggle this resolution. But mind you, if you want to find out how difficult it is for the leadership, look at how long it took them to issue a statement. 3 days. This statement I can put together in 30 minutes. The statement that came from the GBA on the resolution, I can put it together in 30 minutes. It took 3 days. But that's because we know that there was pushback because people foresaw what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yeah.
Hopefully they are able to put their house in order.
Uncle Ken, were you at the mini conference?
No, please.
So you're not part of the resolution?
No, I was not part.
But
I absolutely subscribe to the thoughts that are in there.
Okay.
I think that there has been a very concerted effort to demonstrate some kind of division on the front of the Ghana bar, and that effort would ultimately fail. It will ultimately fail. Personally, I feel deeply offended when I see lawyers assume legal positions because of partisanship. And unfortunately in Ghana, it seems to be the case.
Yeah.
You speak to a particular lawyer, knowing where he or she is coming from politically, you can be almost certain the kind of legal opinion
you have,
colored legal opinion that you have. Okay? Because what is blatant and obvious is blatant and obvious. The president, Article 146, speaks of two categories of officers who come under Article 146. It speaks about higher court judges. The higher court judges are the high court judges, the Court of Appeal judges, and the Supreme Court judges. And then the second category of officers who come under Article 146 is the Chief Justice. Article 146 sets out a procedure by which you deal with higher court judges. And then it sets out a procedure by which you deal with the Chief Justice. The two procedures are different and distinct. The first one, higher court judges, the petition goes to the Chief Justice. She has the right to establish prima facie and then recommendations to the president. The second one, the petition goes to the president. The president does not have the right to establish prima facie.
Okay.
It is stated there, Article 146.6 and 146.7. It's clear and distinct, black and white. It does not even need legal knowledge. So where the president comes and says that he has established prima facie, and in Ghana, the people who establish prima facie are not even lawyers who have legal knowledge, legal training. It's judges. The president is the executive. The job of prima facie is for judges to decide. That is why in the wisdom of the Constitution, it says that the president shall form a committee, and then two members of the committee shall be Supreme Court judges, one of whom shall be chairman. So it was for the president to simply say that I am referring this committee on the recommendation of the Council of State, these petitions on the recommendation of the Council of State, to this committee we are forming. And then the committee takes it and runs with it. Then the president says he has found prima facie. So I agree with the GBA that if you have found prima facie, then publish the reasons. Because when the judges are arriving at prima facie, they review evidence, they set out legal precedents, and then based on the conclusion, and normally prima facie comes in the middle point of criminal trials. Okay, in the midpoint of criminal trial, when we make submissions of no case, the judge can then say that because I have found prima facie, come and open your defense. What is being given to Mr. Puaman must be some type of reasoned decision that we have already found prima facie. So call upon the Chief Justice to come and open a defense. When what should have been done was give the entirety of the whole thing to Mr. Puaman and his committee to first and foremost establish whether there is prima facie, and then whether it is then necessary to call on the Chief Justice to open a defense. So if you have the president in his wisdom advice, then this thing is important to say. If the president is taking legal advice from Dr. Dominic Ayini and my sister, whom I respect so very much, his legal counsel, Marita Burapre, then they are giving the president very poor, low-quality advice.
Wow.
Poor. Either that or the president is being malicious in how he's handling the matter of the Chief Justice. And I believe it's a combination of the two.
But he says it's in consultation with the Council of State.
But you see, you don't take such momentous decisions without consulting the chief lawyer in your office. He has 2 chief lawyers. He has the Attorney General and he has the experienced Marita. Very experienced lady lawyer.
But the counter-argument is that if indeed these claims in the petitions are false, why don't you allow the process to go?
No, the system will go on. But if you are giving the petition to the committee, it would have gone on. Our problem, the problem that I see, which I agree with the Ghana Bar Association on, is the declaration that he has found prima facie. Because that immediately colors the work. And if I were Mr. Poorman, okay, I would have done the guy who washed his hands.
Yeah.
The guy who washed his hands.
In the Bible.
In the Bible, Jesus Christ.
You'd have washed your hands of the case.
Of this abortion. This is an abortion.
You call it an abortion?
Yeah, because they have already decided what to do. Okay, that is why I premised my statement by saying that the advice, if he is receiving legal advice from the AGM Marita, then it's very poor legal advice.
Right.
Otherwise, he's acting out of malice.
And you believe it's two?
It's a combination of the two. It's feeding off each other. Okay, because the 2 procedures are clear. Set up a committee, then you guys go and say, I found prima facie.
The council of state voted.
So it wasn't John Mahama who
Is that how you establish prima facie? It's a serious technical term.
But there's a judgment. There's a judgment from the Supreme Court on the prima facie. Talked about that, right? That must be established. Akufo-Addo attended to the Professor Goku Asare petition and said that he had not been able to establish a prima facie.
I'm saying that, yes.
Dismissed it using the same process.
I'm saying that.
Now, would you say that the prima facie should go to the Poorman committee? You are turning the process heads upside down.
No.
Because it must be chronological.
No.
So
make
the
point. The point is making is that Akufo-Addo did the same thing. And if Akufo-Addo did the same thing, it doesn't make John Mahama right.
There was a judgment. There was a Supreme Court judgment.
Akufo-Addo was wrong. It does not make John Mahama right.
No, we get that.
Let me go on. Let me go on.
So you say that the establishment of the prima facie should not be done by the President's Council of State?
It should not be done by the Council of State sitting down and voting. Ridiculous. If that is what happened, it is ridiculous. So I agree with the position of the Ghana Bar Association.
Okay.
I say that it is not too late. I say that the president can eat back his words. Okay. Declare that his announcement that he has found prima facie was made too soon in time, too early in time, and give the whole thing to Mr. Poorman and his committee.
To handle.
Yes.
To start.
Yes. Yes, this thing that happened, petitions being forwarded to the Chief Justice and the Chief Justice responding to the petitions. When the committee had not been formed when those things were happening. It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. And it is all coming out of the fact that we go out there, make statements, put out press releases, when what should have been done was simple and procedural. The first press statement by my brother Felix Ofosu-Kwakye. If at that time the president had said that I've received these petitions and I'm going to consult the Council of State on the formation of the committee, and after that we'll give the whole thing to the committee to handle, it would have been mature. It would have been the way to go. We don't have been having this debate. So the announcement that he has found prima facie, and therefore on the basis of finding prima facie, he was going to suspend her.
Yeah.
Okay, that is why the people, other lawyers, and then the Ghana Bar Association, people are concerned as adverting its mind to Article 296. That exercise of discretionary power should not be biased by resentment or capriciousness.
Okay.
Okay, biased by resentment or capriciousness. Because you do not have the authority to first and foremost find prima facie. Okay, so if you find prima facie and then on the basis of that prima facie, you then go ahead to take a decision. Okay, it is a capricious thing to do. And I think that if you have a body like a Ghana Bar Association in Ghana, from which all of us can benefit from, when they speak, we should not go and set up Linsod. You see, you should not go. That's why I say I'm embarrassed when I see lawyers, trained lawyers, because it's hard to be trained.
But Linsod has been in existence.
No.
Yes.
You not go and set up Linsod or instigate Linsod or whatever to say that in the period of Akufo-Addo, the Ghana Bar Association was not speaking. Very bad conduct on the part of the Ghana Bar Association. Very, they should have been speaking within that period, and that had problems with them within that period. That horrible things happened in this country, and the Akufo-Addo, the Ghana Bar Association was silent. But it does not still take away from the fact that this time they are right.
Right.
Yes.
Uncle Ken's submissions.
Right.
As against reading Article 1466 of the 1992 Constitution and having in mind the decision in GHOne. This tells me that probably a GHOne decision actually created a problem. That is my little man's understanding. Now, yes, but you see, I think that the framers of the 1992 Constitution were careful because they knew they were dealing with the Chief Justice. So they said that where the petition is for the removal of the Chief Justice, the President shall, acting in consultation with the Council of State, appoint a committee consisting of 2 justices of the Supreme Court, one of whom shall be appointed chairman by the President, and 3 other persons who are not members of the Council of State, nor members of Parliament, nor lawyers. The committee appointed under Clause 6 of this article shall inquire into the petition and recommend to the President whether the Chief Justice ought to be removed from office. So I'm beginning to think that probably this committee that is supposed to be appointed is the committee that should be responsible for the establishment of the
because they are supposed to inquire
because it is actually supposed to be chaired by a judge.
Yes.
And a Supreme Court judge with a second Supreme Court judge present, and then other ordinary members. So I'm beginning to think that GHOne brought some extra to this, because GHOne says that if for the removal of a Superior Court judge, a prima facie case is supposed to be established, then for a removal of the Chief Justice, a prima facie case should be established. But GHOne did not mention who should establish it. And we have concluded that the establishment should be done between the President and the Council of State. But the Council of State role here was that together with the President, establish a committee.
So the President does not establish the committee?
No, it is in consultation with the Council of State.
He shall.
Yes, in consultation. So the President is supposed to tell us that, okay, so I've consulted the Council of State. I've appointed Justice Poaman, Justice Samuel, and then Samuel Adibu Esiedu. I've forgotten the name. And then these other members, what's his name? Domelevo, the man from the army, the lady from the army, and then the gentleman from the university. So that committee will now receive the petitions and then analyze and then see whether there's a prima facie case. If there is, if they establish.
So your argument is that you do not establish the prima facie before the formation of the committee.
No. Yes. No. Because you see, and I think that the framers of the 1992 Constitution knew that the Chief Justice position is so sensitive that if you make it equivalent to the process for the removal of a Superior Court judge, it might create problems. So for the Chief Justice, let's create a different criteria. And that criteria is that President receive the petition. Just like when you receive for a Superior Court judge, the President doesn't play any role. all he does is he's a conveyor belt to the Chief Justice. Let the Chief Justice establish prima facie. When you receive for the Chief Justice, be the same. Be a conveying belt. The conveying belt is that form a committee in consultation with your Council of State and let that committee be the one who will do the work.
Right.
So instead of the Chief Justice alone establishing prima facie case in the case of a Superior Court judge, in the case of the Chief Justice himself,
we have about 5 people.
It is so huge that one person cannot do it. So even so, bring 2 of his peers or her peers who are Supreme Court justices, and then get 3 other ordinary people. Let them be the ones who should carry out the process. I think that it is actually even much more clear for me
that is what
than we are making it look.
And then he's taking advice
And
from Dominic.
GHOne has brought, GHOne exacerbated this role.
Right.
But I'm beginning to think that probably the GHOne position could be wrong. I'm beginning to think that it could be wrong.
The prima facie
and that
is
the prima
supposed
facie should be the responsibility of the committee.
It's simple.
Because you are talking about a high office. What is the process for the removal of the president? We are talking about the 3 arms of government.
Yes.
The president, the Speaker of Parliament, and the Chief Justice. What is the process for removal of the president? The president maybe can be impeached by Parliament, but even that the Chief Justice has a role that he has to play. It is cut out in the Constitution. We don't have time to read it. So I'm beginning to think that we are abusing the process. I think so.
Joshua, a quick one.
Quick one, Ivy.
I think, unfortunately, I would disagree with both of them.
Okay.
My reason is simple. If you go to 10, Article 14610, it talks about the fact that that's 10A. In the case of the Chief Justice, acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State by warrant signed by him, that's the President, suspend the Chief Justice. So where the petition has been referred to a committee under this article, the President may, in the case of the Chief Justice, acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State by warrant signed by him, suspend the Chief Justice. If the President is given the power in consultation with the Council of State to deprive the Chief Justice of his or her work, immediately the committee is formed. Then there's every reason, natural justice, common sense, logic, for you to establish the fact that there are questions that the Chief Justice has to answer. That's the prima facie. Prima facie is that you have questions to answer.
Right.
No, so even before the committee sits, the president then suspends the Chief Justice.
So
how illogical?
So you know what?
How? Because that's what.
Even before the committee sits.
Yes. Listen to this. Listen to this. Where the petition has been referred to the committee under this article, the president may, in the case of the Chief Justice, acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State by warrant signed by him, suspend the Chief Justice.
Ibrahim,
the committee doesn't have
Ibrahim, let me tell you what I see.
Yes.
What I see is that probably the article 14610A might end up being inconsistent with 146.
Then you want to review the Constitution. That one, but
it might end up being inconsistent with it.
Right.
Okay. You realize that when he was reading 14610, he used the word may.
Yes.
It's exercise of discretionary power.
Yes.
Every lawyer will tell you that it is dangerous to read one provision in isolation without considering the rest. Then I've already adverted your mind to Article 146 and 296 that in exercising discretionary power may, in exercising discretionary power, the employment of the word may, you need to avoid capriciousness. If you have not established prima facie, where do you come from suspending?
You see,
because you don't establish prima facie.
No, we don't say you don't establish prima facie.
And that's why you have the fundamental.
That's where I disagree.
That's the point of difference.
And let's just talk about the Article 296 that he talks about. That one has been settled. As to the president exercise of discretion and the fact that there's always has to be a constitutional instrument, that one is settled. If that's what we are going by,
it's settled now.
It's settled, and this is the case. This is the case. It's settled in the court by Ransford France versus Attorney General.
You have set out the constitutional instrument.
No, I'm saying that you are not getting me. The point I'm making.
I see.
Which is under Article 296 has been settled under this case in question, Ransford, France versus Attorney General. It's settled. It talks about the fact that we cannot say that in exercising of discretion, especially from the president, at every point in time, we should go through a constitutional instrument. That's one. Two, sometimes in the Constitution, there is a process through exercising of that discretion. In this case, they say by signing a warrant. That is a process defined in that article. So you don't have to come out with an instrument again to say that because it's a discretion.
I'm telling you, first and foremost, I did not talk about constitutional instrument. What I said was that in
exercising the discretion,
in exercising discretion under Article 194(10), you ought to advert your mind to Article 296.
You mean 146?
Yeah, 146. You ought to advert your mind to Article 296.
Who talks about discretion?
Which talks about discretion. And I'm saying that if you do that, then when you have not established prima facie, you do not go ahead to suspend.
Okay.
Very simple. Finally on this. See, the law is the law. The law cannot be changed by opinions and emotions, right? We have read the article. I'm saying that logically, if you clothe the president with the power to suspend the Chief Justice, right, there must be a system. And in fact, I spoke to Kodjo on the back of the Professor Kwekwaza petition. And he told me in Parliament that it was frivolous and that the president was going to make a determination on it very soon, and that the Council of State had advised the president. Guess what? He's on record to have said that he wrote the prima facie opinion on it at the Council of State because he's a member of the Council of State. He's a lawyer as well. Kodjo, when he went to the council, it was the council that determined that there was no prima facie established on the back of the petition from Professor Kwekwaza. The president consequently dismissed the petition without acting. The point we are making is that if you talk about law of natural justice, logic, if you have the power to suspend, at least you must establish that I have questions to answer. And that's what prima facie is about.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So going by his analogy, there's somebody like Kodjo at the Council of State. The Ghana Bar Association that is saying that if you wrote that reasoned opinion, they make it available. And then he will go back and say, but the whole thing is sick.
It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be. I think we can talk with the Supreme Court.
That is why we should have simplified it and gone by the strict dictates of Article 146. Just from the committee and stop taking opinion from the revered Mr. Samuel Kodjo.
I'll give you the last bite on that.
Okay, so I'm just thinking that this whole removal of CJ is a difficult thing.
Yes.
It has constitutional implications.
Right.
The way everybody is talking about it, it should draw the attention of the president to the fact that we have never had such a process since the Fourth Republic came into being. It's been 32 years. This is the first time we are seeing Article 146, 6, and 10 being triggered, as it were, to the point that we have actually had a sitting 7 Chief Justice suspended. This is the first time. So it is new. It is concerning. Organized labor has gone into it. Ghana Bar Association is in it. Political parties are in it. It just tells you that it is a national matter. So if you ask me, I'll tell you that the NDC conceived the removal of the Chief Justice before they won election 2024.
No.
They conceived it.
Right.
And they planned it.
And then it's been executed.
And it is being executed.
Okay. And now 7 more justices have been nominated.
Well, yes. For me, with the nomination of the justices, I have a very strong position on it.
Okay.
My strong position on it is that in July 2024, the Chief Justice, Justice Tokono, requested for additional judges to lift up the number to 20 instead of the then 15 that it was, and came up with a 14-page document to justify why she wanted the additional 5 to help with the work. He did the analysis of court cases and then also the numbers of the judges from 2020 up to 2024. And so in terms of the increase, I think that then the Chief Justice, Justice Tokono, made a coherent argument why we should increase the number to support the work of the apex court of the land. And so I will not criticize that process if it is being ushered. As it stands today, if you check on the Judicial Service website, there are 13 named Supreme Court justices.
Yes.
The Chief Justice, obviously, in this suspension process, brings the number to 12.
Yeah.
Which means that we're actually below the number of 20, which was suggested by Chief Justice Tokono, by up to 8. That is excluding her. You understand?
Yeah.
So when it comes to that, I will not criticize any attempt to add to the number, because the Chief Justice herself requested that we increase because of the issues of numbers and the volume of work.
Yes.
I think what has been the problem is the fact that under former President Akufo-Addo, the NDC and Mr. Mahama made it seem that Akufo-Addo was packing the court. But President Akufo-Addo, when he was in office, adopted a certain approach to appointment to the Supreme Court. When he took over from Mr. Mahama in 2017, he handed him over with 13 Supreme Court justices. 13, 2017. When President Akufo-Addo was leaving office on the 7th of January 2025, there were 13 Supreme Court justices.
Yes.
You understand? How do you justify packing? You came to meet 13. When you were going, you left 13. I would think that if packing, then it means that maybe you came to meet 13, multiplied it by 2. So when you were going, there were 26. But you came to meet 13. When you were going, there were 13. What it means is that President Akufo-Addo adopted an approach. The approach was replace based on retirement. And so anytime someone was retiring, the president had to replace so that the Supreme Court doesn't dwindle. And so over the 8 years of President Akufo-Addo, all he did was replacements of retiring Supreme Court justices. He never ever packed the Supreme Court. Never. Today, we have 12.
Yes.
Mr. Mahama is adding 7.
To make 19.
He's taking the number to 19. Is it packing?
That's a question.
In my best of opinions, it's not, because the Chief Justice has requested that I need 20.
So that's what even one.
And as it stands today, the earliest retirement from the Supreme Court, as I know, and I stand to be corrected, is 2 years from now, which is Justice Bafuboni, who is acting as Chief Justice.
Yes.
All the rest, majority of them have several years. Even Justice Puama has 5 years more. All Yoni Kolendi and all the others.
Yes.
You know, so I think that we must be very careful. This issue about packing the court is what has created this problem. Akufo-Addo never packed the Supreme Court.
All right, Uncle Ken, I know I have a brief comment on this.
I think that the number of justices at the Supreme Court should be 9.
9. Like the US.
9.
Not 13, not 20.
9. The creme de la creme, the best that we can present. And their voice should be almost final. Okay, 9. Now, people complain about workload. Why do you need to sit 9 justices at the same time? One of them can sit. 3 of them can sit. 5 of them can sit. The problem with our Supreme Court is that it is inundated with land cases. Everybody appeals right up to. But some cases are so obvious. Okay, so we should find a way of winnowing, discouraging certain cases from getting to the Supreme Court. And then they should sit 3 or 1 to deal with certain matters finally. And where it's a controversial constitutional matter, sit 5. On review, sit 9. And then the workload can be properly shared and divided. But we should have 9 justices of the Supreme Court.
So the justification for 20 for you does not work?
I absolutely disagree. 9 justices of the Supreme Court. So that when it's your career is the law, realize that this is where you may finally be able to end up. If you do excellent work, you see, the problem that we seem to be having is that the appointment is by the president, and by our very nature, and the bad nature we have, we believe that instead of appointing on merit, we should rather appoint people who are likely to see things our way when they get to that place. And by the way, let me congratulate Mr. Dennis Seji. He's an excellent.
That's what I keep hearing. That is very excellent.
An excellent human being. The people, the type of people we should all try to create in this country. He taught me. I hope you have the privilege of.
Yeah. So whilst I was in school at the LLB level, he was a visiting lecturer. He came to teach us interpretation.
Yes.
That's at the constitutional law level.
He taught me interpretation at Makola. He's an excellent human. And one thing I like about him is his continued writing. We will all die. But when we package our thoughts into books, we leave our knowledge for posterity. A lot of our lawyers and people, they are not writing. They are not writing. They go to court and come. A lot of experience, they are not putting down on paper. So posterity is not learning from their knowledge. He rather keeps on churning out book after book after book. So he's an excellent human being. But beyond that, I would say that let us work to reduce the number on the Supreme Court to 9.
Interesting.
Well,
Ibrahim.
So first of all, I'm excited. See, in my life, what is so gladdening to my heart is to see merit being rewarded. So far, if there's any positive from this list I have seen, is that they are all at the Court of Appeal.
Yes.
And they've all been elevated.
Yes.
They've all been elevated. I single out Justice Senor Jamepe. I was very unconscious when I started hearing his name. And then there was a commission that was set up after the Brazil fiasco. Then that's the Jamepe Commission report. And he was still at the Court of Appeals. And so moving forward, I think all our presidents will learn from this. When you want to add on or even replace people at the apex court of the land, sift through the courts below that level and reward merit. Just as we were told that people who had contested on the ticket of political parties will be independent-minded when they go to the apex court, just assume that it doesn't matter where one person is coming from. It doesn't matter the judgment the person might have delivered that might have gone against you. When the person goes there, the fidelity is to the law. So my heart is gladdened that all the 7, all of them,
Court of Appeal,
say Dennis Eji. I've read how long he has been at the Court of Appeal. I think it amounts to injustice. It amounts to injustice. I think it amounts to injustice that he's had to now wait till now. Same with Justice Senor Jamepe. So congratulations to all the 7 of them. But mind you, the Chief Justice was not proposing that only 5 be added. Though. It was supposed to be 7. 2 had been vetted. And as we speak, their approval is in abeyance. In fact, it has expired with the 8th Parliament. Right? So it was supposed to be 7.
And those 2 were replacing 2 others who were retiring.
Yes,
who have since retired.
Yes. But so, as we speak now, we have 13 of them. We have 13 of them. As we speak now, we have 13 of them. Now, if you add the 5 that he was proposing, right, that would have been 18. If you add the 2 who were in abeyance, then that would have been 20. As Wilberforce mentioned. So, Wilberforce, when they talk about packing, I'm not sure the conversation is not about the number. It's about the caliber of people who were sending.
The colors.
No, that was the conversation. No, so because yes, indeed, Akufo-Addo was replacing.
Yes.
But he was replacing with caliber of people. That was the conversation. That was the conversation. So, like I said, it created some disenchantment, even within. And like I tell you, when Wilberforce is a court correspondent, he knows. At the Court of Appeal level, there were some individuals who felt they had been overlooked because they merited it. They had been there. They had delivered sound judgment.
And they were seniors.
Exactly. and then you overlook them, private practice. So it's allowed. Nobody's saying that. But you see, for every decision, there are repercussions. And there are prices to pay for it. So there was this discontentment within those circles. I can understand why President Mahama decided that I won't go outside. From within, people whom we think are qualified, let them go. Again, I agree with Uncle Ken that the Supreme Court must now, and the acting Chief Justice, Justice Bafumoni, must ensure that it's not every case that ends up at the Supreme Court. That we must consciously work to ensure that it's not every case that must end at the Supreme Court. Right? There are cases that must not be entertained. And rotate the panels. So it doesn't look like just a few people all the time sitting on cases.
Certain cases.
Certain cases.
Okay.
That's not how to...
So it's the impression that we create.
We create. And justice must not just be delivered, but must be seen to be delivered.
Manifestly.
And so, yes, as for the ceiling, maybe now that we've gotten to 20, or we are going to 20, we can then look at the Constitution and say, let's have a cap.
Right.
Let's have a cap, because we need to have a cap. Otherwise, we might have a president who tomorrow will say that I think we should go to 40.
So President Mahama, the people that he has appointed, they are caliber. Well,
I just said that they're already in the system.
If somebody stands somewhere and says that they have been, President Akufo-Addo appointed Justice Lovelace Johnson. She was a Court of Appeal judge.
Johnson, yes.
Tanko, Osman Tanko Amadou, he was a Court of Appeal judge. Of course, Henrietta and Yoni Kolendi were not. They came from the bench. And then Samuel Kwame Adibu Esiedu was also a Court of Appeal judge. Justice George Kingsley Kumsin was also a Court of Appeal judge. Henry Kofi was also a Court of Appeal judge. So President Akufo-Addo, in his term, when he was making appointments, elevated people from the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court. So it's not like President Akufo-Addo ignored people there. It is true that some people were more senior and they were ignored. But that is how it has always been. Okay, we are not saying that we cannot do something about it, but that's even the appointment of Chief Justice. When President Akufo-Addo came to office, Justice Georgina Wood was leaving. President Akufo-Addo, there was Atukuba, and then there was Sofa Akufu. Atukuba was the most senior, but President Akufo-Addo appointed Sofa Akufu as the CJ, even though Atukuba was there until he was going on retirement. I think he went on retirement a few months afterwards. And then when Justice Sophia was leaving, there was Jones Doche and Enini Eboa. The two of them, Jones Doche was the most senior, but President Akufo-Addo appointed Enini Eboa as the CJ. In no time, they served, and then Enini Eboa went on retirement first as CJ, and then Jones Doche followed. When Enini Eboa was going, President Akufo-Addo brought Tokonu. At the time, Justice Tokonu was so there was Puamang, there was Bafu Boni, and then there was Tokonu before Yoni Kolendi. And President Akufo-Addo jumped the two and went for Tokonu. So that's how it is. That's how the game has been played. You understand? And so, this is also a sector where it's by seniority. So I can understand if somebody has been senior for a long time and you bypass the person based on your own considerations. But even with President Mahama's appointments, this Court of Appeal justice that he has appointed, there are some of the people in some names there. If you go and check the list, and I don't know whether we have time, but maybe we don't have time.
I know Jamape 15 years, and then I know Dennis Ejay to 15 years. That I know, at least those prominent ones.
But I'm just saying that if you check the Court of Appeal list, you would see that some of the justices who has been named in this latest appointment by Mr. Mahama, you will see that some of them have been jumped. For example, Justice Akabuafu, he is my friend. I know him. I mean, I can openly talk about him and he will have no problem with it. On the list of Court of Appeal justices, Justice Akabuafu is not in the top leadership. But for his good work and his understanding of the law, the current president thinks that he should elevate him to the Supreme Court. There are people who are senior to him.
Yeah, but I think, of course, I get you. That's based on merit.
So that will
but
always
it must
happen.
not be the overriding principle.
Yes, but
so
I'm just saying
when
that.
you talked about the Supreme Court, when you talk about the Supreme Court, in fact, the only person that got the opportunity to appoint a chief justice, right, as will be Kufuor, and then a number of them under Akufo-Addo, and that's because, of course, they were going on retirement. I remember clearly, and I was very conscious at that time when Justice Pega was jumped at the Supreme Court and Georgina Wood was named. The rift.
Yeah.
The rift.
No, it's there. I mean, if you look at the list, Justice Senyor Jamefe is the senior most at the Court of Appeal. Justice Dennis Ejay is the second most senior.
Exactly.
And so the two of them have been named in the list of 7. Then I think Justice Jibril Suba.
Yeah, he also makes that.
He's also on the list. He's the third most senior. The other persons on the list, I think I saw was is Bright Mensah there?
Yes,
I think Bright Mensah is there. I'm just trying to get their positions on the list.
Yes.
So if Bright Mensah is there, Bright Mensah is sixth on the row. Okay. Beyond that, I think I have. I mentioned Justice Akabuafo. Justice Akabuafo is number 24 on the row. Okay. And then I think I saw another justice whose name is Benasco. Benasco is named. You can't, have you pulled the list?
No, Benasco is not on the list.
It's not on the list. Okay. So I think that.
So just walk through the list if I would.
Yes, let me get the list. But I remember the name, so I know Benasco is not.
Okay, so I'm only saying, I'm just trying to tell you that even on the list here of the Court of Appeal, with this appointment by the current president, he has jumped some others. So, for example, there are several names here. Justice Angela Mensah Humi, Justice Jennifer Dodu, Justice Battels Kodjo, Justice, I think Benasco. Benasco is on the list. He's number 10. On the list here at the Court of Appeal.
Yes, but not on John Mahama's list.
Okay, so John Mahama's list is Justice Dennis Dominic Ejay.
Who is second?
Justice Guel Simon Subari, as you mentioned.
Subari, that's third, yes.
Justice Senyor Jamefe. Justice Kweku Teria Akabuafo.
Yes.
Justice Philip Bright Mensah.
Yes.
Justice Janapari Battels Kodjo.
So Bright Mensah is number 6.
Yeah.
And then Janapari is number 9. And then, which other one?
And then Justice Hafizata Amele Boba.
Hafizata
Amele Boba.
Okay, I'm trying to
locate she's a woman. So I'm sure if there is jumping, you can understand
so Hafizata is number 23. And then Akabuafo is number 24. So I'm only letting you know that on the Supreme Court, on the Court of Appeal listing, on the website of the Judicial Service, these 7 persons that the president has chosen are not like the top 7 most senior.
All of them, yes.
No.
But you also look at the disparity between the ages at the place. So, for instance, if you look at 5 and 6, 5 years, 6 years difference, and that means 1 year difference, that's no problem. But to pick somebody who is, say, 5 years at the Court of Appeals, and then leave somebody who is 15 years, who is equally qualified. Because, mind you, it's not just about longevity. It's about the soundness of your judgment and your competency. And everybody who has been to the court can then determine that Dennis Ejay is good, Justice Senyor Jamefe is good, and yet still they are overlooked. That's where the problem is.
Right.
Yeah.
Quite interesting. But then I'm sure that in the coming days we'll get to hear more.
Yeah, they'll face the appointment committee of parliament.
Exactly, and that's where the
I can assure you that all of them will go through.
Obviously.
Yes. And I am one person who supports the efficiency of the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
If this appointment is going to make them, and again, quite frankly, the Supreme Court, most of the cases that are at the Supreme Court are not political cases.
Right.
They are not. They are ordinary cases. Our friend was just telling us that majority of the cases at the Supreme Court, land appeals, civil appeals.
Right.
Those are the things that the Supreme Court judges are going to be dealing with. The percentage of political cases, if as we speak today, the number of cases that are at the Supreme Court that have any kind of political coloring, they are not more than 5. They are not more than 5 out of the 590 something cases at the bench. the political cases that are political, that says that MPP and NDC are involved, or PMP and CPP are involved, they are not more than 5.
Right.
So when you go to the bench at that highest level, you are going to apply the laws of the country.
Obviously.
That is all that they are going to do. So,
but is the political cases that
there are few political cases, that are there for you to deal with. After you have dealt with them, the bulk of the work has nothing political. Absolutely.
I've just corrected that. So the list that came from the presidency, Justice Senior General President's name is supposed to be at the top because he's the senior.
He's the senior most.
So that should have been number 1.
Yes. Instead of said Dennis.
Yes. In fact, on the list, he is the senior most, and that is how they always do the arrangements. So the senior always comes first, and so follows chronologically. So if you look at the appointment, the first 3 seniors are on the list.
Okay.
The first 3 seniors, Justice Senior, Dennis, and then Subari.
I think that
pronouncing that name is difficult for me.
So I'm sure that the issue here is because when you look at the statement from the presidency, the first name is said Dennis instead of
so it's supposed to be Senior Jama. He's the most senior. And then there are 2 other seniors who have not made the list. So Justice Mabel Mami Ajimai, Justice Anthony Opong did not make the list. They are 4th and 5th. 6th is Justice Philip Bright Mensah, who's made the list.
Yes.
And then the 7th is Angela Mensah Homi. I think she made the list.
No.
She didn't make the list. Okay. So then there is 8, Justice Jennifer Dodu. And then Justice Battels Kodjo. And then Justice Sophia Benasco. He also didn't make the list.
Benasco was not the one who is still outstanding. There are 2 individuals who were vetted in the 8th Parliament.
Okay.
Benasco was one of them.
Okay.
Yes. But
and then Justice Georgina Mensah Dache, number 11. Justice Eric Chebafo, very popular, number 12. Justice Edward Amwako Asante. Justice Novisi. All of them.
There are seniors who are also not included in the list. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Wilberforce Asare, he is the political editor for Asasa Radio. Ibrahim Al-Hassan, my boss here, is the head of EIB's political desk. And so anything politics, know that Ibrahim has something to do with it. If he didn't orchestrate it for us and fed us and made sure that we were in line, he's definitely in the back making sure that things are happening. And also we had Kenneth Crunchy, managing editor for the Daily Searchlight newspaper, who had to take leave of us. But gentlemen, thank you so much. He has to be in court, so Charlie. Lawyer? What do you mean?
Yeah, it has to
as a journalist, he has to keep that too.
Okay.
That's it for this review segment. We have more interviews for you right after this. Stay with us. Television is the Friday edition, and we are getting ready to enter the Zoom for the weekend. But then let me bring you this lifestyle segment where my colleague Emmanuel Ejabin, he sat with the final contestants, the finalists of Miss Sublime beauty pageant, having a conversation with them basically on how the competition has fared so far and their expectations, as well as what they hope to do after that. Listen.
Good morning. Welcome to the lifestyle session on GH today. My name is Emmanuel Ejabin. Today we are discussing pageantry. I have been enveloped by a number of beautiful ladies. They're not just beautiful, but they have a mission at heart. And I am here with ladies who are with Miss Sublime Ghana, right? Yes. I have about 11 of them here in yellow, white, and grey t-shirts. You're going to talk about Miss Sublime Ghana. The grand finale is this Saturday, May 3, 2025. They have been in this competition representing every nook and cranny of Ghana, the various regions, 16 regions, right? And 5 people are out, and we are left with 11. And Saturday, they are having the grand finale. We are going to discuss their journey so far, what they are expecting, and perhaps an opportunity for them to engage you to vote for them. And we'll see who becomes Miss Sublime Ghana on Saturday. Who is winning? Hey, all of them are winning. But we hope for the best. Let's get straight to the conversation and try to understand their experiences so far. If I can guess right, this is Paula, this is Margaret, this is... I was just trying to get a name. But let me start with Paula. I'll come back to you. Paula, welcome.
Thank you very
much. A little bit about yourself. Don't worry. I'll give all of you a chance to introduce yourself. Don't worry. Yeah. Paula, yes.
My name is Paula Kokodoku, a 20-year-old girl from Pram Pram. I'm a Gadangbi and a student of the University of Ghana, Legon, studying Chinese and linguistics.
How has the experience been for you so far?
So far, first of all, I'll be grateful to God for being on this platform. It's a great privilege and it has been fun. I've had a lot of experiences, a lot of exposure as well, and I'm hoping for the best.
You're hoping for the best. Yes. Margaret, is it the same for you?
Yes, I'm also hoping for the best.
But you tell us about yourself.
Okay, my name is Margaret Amal. I'm 23 years of age and a student nurse at Pentecost University. I'm an Akan from the Western North region.
So we moved from Greater Accra to the Western region.
Western North.
Western North.
Yeah.
And you?
Ofali.
Tricia.
Yeah.
And you are from the
Volta region.
Volta region.
Yes.
Do you give them some akpla and fechideji to eat in the house?
Of course.
How many times?
Countless.
Countless. But how has it been for you so far in the house? How many times were you how many weeks were you housed together?
Okay, a month.
A month,
yeah.
Okay. A month.
Okay, so the experience has been okay. The exposure, everything has been on point. And I'm really happy. Yeah.
The only lady in white. Oh, actually, she's the first of 3. Yes. Tell us about yourself as well.
My name is Vanessa Bushisai. I'm 20 years of age. I'm from Osu in the Greater Accra region. She's from Pram Pram.
Pram Pram.
Yes. I'm a student of the University of Ghana, studying psychology, linguistics, and information studies. The experience has been amazing. From the trips, we learning a lot. The exposure, fun times, sad times. It has been an awesome time. And it's really breathtaking, to be honest.
Breathtaking. Was it on the night of evictions when someone had to go?
The tensions during eviction, sad times, mood swings. It's a whole lot.
Is there anyone from the number that was evicted that you miss? That's a difficult question, huh?
Yes, I miss everyone.
You miss everyone. Okay, so pass the microphone and I'll give all of them a chance to introduce themselves as well, quickly, and then we move on.
I'm Goodman Comfort Akwesi Ajura. I'm a student of Accra Technical University. I'm also a model.
If you can, yeah, go again.
Goodman Comfort Akwesi Ajura is my name. I'm a fashion student at the Accra Technical University and also a model.
Nice. The next person.
The name is Mark Brown Phoebe.
Mark Brown?
Yeah.
Manama?
Mark Brown Phoebe, a student cosmetologist, a girl from the Greater Accra region. I'm 20 years of age.
I go by the name Helen Emefa Deku. I'm a student of GH Media. I study journalism and media studies. I'm 21 years of age and I'm from Volta region.
Nice.
I am Venus Talata from Upper East Region, Yorugo, a 19-year-old girl studying fashion in GH Fashion School.
Obodai Sinde is my name. I'm 20 years of age. I'm a student of GH Media, and I'm a girl from Labadi in the Greater Accra region.
Nice. Hold on, she has a mic over here, so she would continue and then fill in with the remaining four so that you can share the rest.
My name is Abudu Sarah. I'm 25 years old. I'm a Dagati woman from Wa.
Wa. Upper West.
Yes, please. My name is Salome Lugina, a 20-year-old girl from the Radford University College, studying IT, and I'm a Dagati girl.
Okay.
My name is Abigail Praise Pabai, and I'm 22 years of age, and I'm studying journalism and media studies at GH Media, and I'm from the Volta region.
Okay. The final person to my left.
My name is Bintu Salam Isa, and I'm from the Upper East region. I'm a presenter, 21 years of age. Thank you.
So it's like the Northern Caucasus here, and then the Middle Belt there, and then down there. That's fine. Anyone can answer this. Miss Sublime, what was the inspiration, or what moved you to join this pageantry? Anyone ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Abudu, right?
Abudu Sarah.
Abudu Sarah.
So I've been interested in pageantry from a very young age, but I didn't get the motivation to join any of the existing ones. But the moment my sister sent me the flyer for Miss Sublime, I knew it was the one for me. So that's why I came here.
You knew it was the one for you. Beauty with mission.
Yes, please.
Anyone? I want those. Okay. No, you have there.
So with Miss Sublime, the inspiration behind it for me was how it brings about cultural diversity. Yeah, so when I Googled, I saw the flyer on Snap, and then I read more about it, and I realized it's more of you showcasing your talent and then your culture as well. And I'm someone who wants to sell my culture to the world. I want my region to be put on the map of Ghana, #1 as well. So I was like, okay, I can do this, so let me just take a try and then put my region on top.
Are you all serious because of the car and then a trip to London? Because all of you are trying to move away from that particular one. Is it not a good enough motivation for you? You want to drive the car?
It was, yes.
It is, right?
Yeah.
I want another person to. Okay. Paula, right? Okay.
So what inspired me is the opportunity to showcase my cultural heritage and to also serve as an advocate for women empowerment and children as well. I also want to advise the young ladies to embrace their inner selves, to also celebrate their inner strength and talent, and to also strive for a positive change. That is why I'm here, and I hope this is the best platform for me to do that.
Beauty with mission. I've had the front row, I've had the left, but I've not had from the right. Any rep from there, if you can pass the microphone.
I agree with the fact that exposing our cultural delicacies and all that. But then, I believe there's a platform for exposure. And again, so far, I think I've gotten a new family and then I'm okay with it. That alone is a plus for me. The exposure, the car as well, everything is all part of it. So then, I believe there's a platform for me.
The car is really important to you, right?
Very.
You talk about cultural diversity, you talk about a platform to expose yourself and enjoy the largesse to this pageantry. But you're all representing different regions, right? I'm just going to give all of you a chance to say something exciting about your region in 10 seconds. This is like your pre-test before Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so who goes first? Oh, you have the mic, so you start first, okay?
I'm a girl from Wusu. One exciting thing is our festival, Homo. Come to think of it, We are the only tribe that comes with ban of noise making during our festival. And I think as a flex, the noise is too much, so then we reduce the noise for our ancestors.
You're projecting gas as the environmentalists, right?
In as much as we make so much noise, that's all we are all known for. We can be quiet for some time. It's a flex though. Yeah. That's the only tribe that's banned noise making during festivals.
Okay, I'll come to those certain, then as you pass on the mic here. So you?
Okay, so I think everybody knows my region to be, if not the richest, the wealthiest. Yes. Because you can't talk about my region without talking about the resources in my region. Starting from gold, timber, manganese, bauxite, cocoa, what have you. So, like, we have other resources with fertile lands and our rich culture. The festival we celebrate is also for end to hunger, which is the Yam Festival. We call it the Elio Festival. So it's actually one of the festivals celebrated in Ghana that calls people attention to come and witness. I think people travel all over the world just to come to celebrate our festival with us. So it's a biggest flavor.
I'm tempted to make one of you dance, but we'll get to that. Yes, coming to you.
Okay, so my region, I love the numerous delicacy aspect, talking about how healthy it is, because when you look at the north, we eat a lot of greens and all of that. So I think I really love that part. It helps me a lot.
I'll get back to you.
When you come to my hometown, we have the Independence Square. Yes.
Representing Ghana.
Yes.
Home to our...
And we have our amazing kinky, Nanapo. And I believe everyone enjoys that meal very well. So it's a plus to have that delicious meal from my hometown.
Selling your food, not bad. Yes.
Okay, so when you come to my hometown, I come from Agotime, and we are known for the best hospitality. And also, when you come to my region, we are best for kente weaving. And without the kente during occasions, I don't think everything is going to be complete. So I'm really happy about mine.
The weddings and the engagements are making you a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay, who goes next? Okay, pass on the mic to her.
Unfortunately, for my hometown, Boko, there is a conflict there, and we are all looking up for peace. So that is what I asked for my Mount Prissy and the Kusasi people to seek for peace, and let's be one. Thank you.
Oh, a call to peace. Not bad. Have you spoken?
About my hometown?
Yes.
No.
Okay, so you go.
Okay, so one thing I like about my hometown is our music and dance, and the culture, diversity, our artworks, and that's what I like. And then our beaches, yes, that's what I also like about our hometown.
I'll let you speak, and then we'll get to the middle belt. They are quiet for me. I don't like them. Too quiet.
Okay, so one interesting fact about my region is the fact that it is dry and hot. That is very good for the people who live.
I've been to Heriwa, right?
Yes, who live in cold areas.
Quite the journey.
Yeah, but they enjoy the weather. At night, it's like the stars come and stand right beside you. It's a spectacle to behold. So that's one interesting thing about Wa.
He's asking you to visit Wa. Let's get to the middle belt.
Okay, one thing I love about my region, which is the Volta region, is our food. The akple and the rest.
Okay.
Okay, so when it comes to Greater Accra region, a lot of people travel to come here to have fun because we have a lot of things here, like our beaches and the hotels. Yeah, so I think.
Okay. So I am from Upper East region, and everyone knows the Abaja dance, the Adowa, but when it comes to our dance, it's more complicated. You don't see people mostly dancing our dance, so I think it's a special thing for us.
We are hoping to see you perform that on Saturday.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Yes.
Okay, I'm also from Akachi. As she said, when you come to Volta region, our food and our dances are also different and special too. So we have other tourist sites around like the mountains. Yeah.
Okay. You're the final one to go.
I come from Lipe in the Oti region, and then when you come to my hometown, the people are very welcoming, and our festival, Lekoi, which means togetherness, and so it brings all of us together. Aside that, we have interesting places you can visit in our hometown, like the Lipe Cave, and then we have waterfalls and other mountainous sites.
Okay. Wonderful things you're mentioning from your regions. I have not been everywhere. I think I've been to Western, North, Western, Central. I'm in Accra. I've been to Upper West. I've been to the North. I've been to Oti. I've been to Volta. I've been to Ahafo. Okay, 9. I have 7 more to do, and I'll be done with Ghana. But yeah, I'm hoping to go to the Upper East region, though. Yeah, I have interest there. I'm hoping to go there. But wonderful things you've shared about your regions. You have been together all this while. Unfortunately, in every race, there must be a winner. I don't believe there's a loser anyway. There has to be a winner. And the event that will decide the winner, I believe, is happening this Saturday.
Yes.
Anyone to tell us where and the time and the details to it? Who wants to go?
Okay, so it's happening at Ashoman Estate, Pine Estate, adjacent the Atomic Hills Church. So the time is on 6 p.m. on Saturday, 3rd May, 6 p.m.
Is it a free event or people have to get tickets to be there?
You have to get tickets, and it's going for a cool 100 Ghana cedis
When
only.
you say a cool 100 Ghana cedis? It's cool, eh? It's very cheap, right? Very, very cheap. 100 cedis.
It's cool, yeah.
Anyway, so, and the voting, I know all of you would want to talk about voting because all of you need the votes.
Yeah.
So we are going to do it quite quickly. You mentioned your name, your short code. Do you have designated numbers, right?
Yes.
Yes. You just mentioned that and how your people can vote for you. And just the final word before we say bye-bye. Can we do that quickly? So do I start from the middle, left or right?
Anyway.
All right, let's start from the left.
Okay, so my name is Bintu Salam Isa. I'm from the Upper East, and my short code is *365*300#. My nominee code is MS1. Kindly vote for me to keep me in the competition, or I can as well as be crowned as the Queen for Miss Sublime Ghana 2025. Thank you.
Okay. Kamra?
I am Sarah Budu from the Upper West region. The short code to vote is *365*300#, and my nominee code is MS13. Please, my people, I know you won't disappoint me. So see you on Saturday, and we are going home with a car. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's go to the right. We'll come and continue. Yes, so you're the mic, so you start for us.
My name is Mark Brown Phoebe. My nominee code is MS16. To the short code, *365*300#. Please vote for me so I can be crowned a winner.
Okay. Miss Salome Lugina, a Dagati girl from the Upper West region of Ghana. So please, you can vote for me by dialing *365*300# to my unique code MS6 to keep me in the competition. Thank you.
And next.
My name is Vanessa Woshisai. I'm from Musi in the Greater Accra region. My short code is *365*300#. To my nominee, MS5. Please vote for me to bring the car home. Thank you.
Okay, you are next.
So, Emmanuel Jabin there with that conversation on Miss Sublime Beauty Pageant. But let me tell you about something really exciting coming up that you cannot afford not to be a part of. And the man to give us all the fill out on that is here. Genesis.
Brother.
Charlie, good morning, bro.
Good morning to you and good morning to all our viewers across the globe, who, especially the loyal family of the EIB network,
exactly,
who always never change their channel when it comes to GHOne TV.
Genesis, man. Charlie, you've got another one. It looks like you don't like rest. So you finish one, you take a little time out, and then you are hitting
Even that time out, my brother, it was because I had some setback. I had an accident. Oh yeah, I had an accident that I had to recover from January 17. I had to recover and all of that. So I'm back and no rest, like because after what you're about to announce, June is coming up with something again.
But we are in May.
Yes. No time.
You see, that's what I don't understand about Genesis. Why? Because you think, for creativity, you need some time out, go to the Bahamas or something, go and chill, get inspiration, and come back. But how is the industry treating you so far, bro?
So far, I'll say that comedy as a whole, we are in our best moment now in Ghana because Ghanaians have come to accept comedy. And I remember 2 weeks ago, we had 3 comedy shows in one day, and all of them shut down. That's how much Ghanaians appreciate comedy. And I mean, big shout out to everybody who is supporting GH Comedy. So yeah, it's treating us well.
I'm told that there is serious unity among you guys, the comedians here in Ghana.
Oh, yes.
There's massive support for anyone doing a show. You see all the crew come to support and all of that.
Except the person is engaged or something. And then, we have a group, so even if the person won't be available here, Charlie, I for show up, but I don't go do this, I don't go do that. So we love each other, we support each other. No favorite. We just together.
Now talk to me about what is hitting us like a tsunami.
So what is coming up is exciting because for some time I stopped doing gospel comedy shows. And then I realized that, actually, apart from God, nothing else. And big shout out to my pastor, Reverend Felix Atiogbe, who always makes sure that I do the right thing. He pushed me and said, Charlie, you've come far and God has been good to you, so why not do something for God? And I said, okay, let's do it. And so we come up again with the book of Genesis, Garden of Laughter, the first Garden of Laughter. And it's coming up this Sunday, 4th May. And it's Royal House Chapel at Chimotama 7. That is a packed show. General Ntacha is on it. DKB is on it. One of the first guys that started stand-up comedy in Ghana is on it. James Brown is on it. Where
has that guy been?
Parrot's Mouth, who shut down Accra last week, is also on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a packed show. And I'm your host for the show. So, yeah, it's something that I am excited about. And I know that it's going to be a wonderful time. We have gospel musicians. We have a surprise. I want to make it a surprise, but he said, Charlie, announce it. Pastor Kofa is on it as well. Yeah, so it's going to be an exciting time in gospel. There will be deliverance. As you are laughing so many depressions out. You laugh small, you fat, and then as you fat, you see that sickness are leaving you.
How?
Oh yeah, you don't know. This is a prophetic show. It's a very serious one. You don't just, as you are laughing like this, there's a way you laugh. Every hole in your body express the laughter. So you fat small and then boom, sickness go. Oh, Charlie, you will see the testimonies after. You will see.
So it's the book of Genesis, the Garden of Laughter. And you've mentioned all these big guys who will be joining you to crack ribs and then also deliver people.
Yes, it's a serious. And the reason why I said it's a deliverance comedy show is because my father, Reverend Felix Atiogbe, is seriously in his house praying. In fact, on Sunday morning, he won't be in church. Somebody else will be preaching on his behalf because he's at home praying that as they are coming, as they are laughing, dollar is going down. As they are laughing, electricity bill is going down. As they are laughing like that, water bill is going down, even rent safe. The only thing is that, I had a problem with my landlord because he invited me to a church and his prophet was praying and saying that, speak it louder. That property you are occupying right now, you own it, you are claiming it in the name of Jesus.
And you screamed.
And I screamed that I take over in the name of Jesus. And the landlord looked at me.
You will leave the house.
He has used 7 padlocks to lock the gate. So I've been homeless right now.
Oh, my brother. So talk to me, the Garden of the book of Genesis, the Garden of Laughter. Where again is it happening and how can people get to be a part of it?
Okay, it's happening live at Chimotama 7. Okay. Opposite Presby Junction, Royal House Chapel. It's just a little offering of 100 cedi to allow you access offering. It's called access offering.
Just 100 Ghana cedis.
To allow, but The 100 Ghana cedis is finished. So now we have the 200 Ghana cedis access offering to enter into the garden to enjoy the laughter. I promise you, this is a gospel show that has come to stay and is going to get bigger and bigger. And this first one it's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, Genesis, I wish you well, and all of us, we are all coming massively to support our brother Genesis. So it's Sunday, the 4th of May, after church, after you relax, eating your fufu, now go and then release the
4:30 come. Event starts exactly 5 o'clock.
Right.
It's church, so no African time. So,
I like that. Genesis, thank you.
Thank you
so much for coming.
You look good, man.
I'm learning small.
I think I need to submit my CV to GHOne because everybody, I've seen my brother Ibrahim looking, I be looking very...
He's the inspiration.
Charlie,
for us.
Thank you all. Thank
Genesis
you very much.
there.
Thank you.
So it's the book of Genesis, the Garden of Laughter, on the 4th of May, Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Royal House Chapel, Achimota Mile 7. It's just a token of what? 100. He says access. 100 and 200 Ghana cedis and just to be a part of it and go and laugh your frustrations away. We are in the month of May. Let's have a good one. Today is the 2nd day of May and we have some birthdays lined up. Wonderful people celebrating their birthday in the month of May. So let's get into the birthdays now. On the show this morning, I am Joshua Kodjo Mensah, and proudly brought to you this show, Ibrahim, the brain behind all that we do here. You have a wonderful weekend, stay blessed, and be safe.